Chapter 1874. Bro, the tattoo is not bad. Su Yun's smile made Clay completely unable to figure out what he meant. However, the fact that his tattoo had been seen through had already made Clay somewhat fearful. Su Yun's smile made Clay unable to figure out what he meant. Did he see through his tattoo's identity, or was he simply sighing at how beautiful the tattoo was? Clay once again suddenly exerted force to break free from Su Yun's control. All of this made Song Dong extremely disappointed. In his fantasy, Clay would be able to knock down Su Yun with a single move, and then Su Yun would be constantly hugging his head and begging for mercy, begging for his forgiveness. At that time, Song Dong would be able to stand arrogantly in front of Su Yun and ask him to lick his shoes. He would let the big beauty beside him see that he, Song Dong, definitely had a way to convince Su Yun. At that time, this big beauty would look down on Su Yun and fall in love with him. All of this should have developed in this direction, but what was the current situation? Clay's attack was actually blocked by Su Yun in an ordinary manner. Originally, Clay's domineering aura was also gone. In front of Su Yun, he didn't have the ability to summon the wind and summon the rain. What about the momentum in the afternoon when he relied on his own strength to knock down so many people? Song Dong really wanted to question what was going on in Clay's mind. However, he didn't know how to open his mouth. After all, this Clay was also a terrifying person in his eyes. Song Dong, you can do it. Hire an assassin. Su Yun's words inadvertently revealed that he knew what the black fox head tattoo was. After Clay realized that his identity was exposed, he would more or less be a bit flustered. If it was anywhere other than Hua Xia, he really had nothing to be afraid of, but this was Hua Xia. He was obviously very worried. Hua Xia had always been a taboo place in this regard. No one wanted to cause trouble in Hua Xia because the organization said that no one would help clean up the mess caused in Hua Xia. Therefore, no one wanted to cause trouble in Hua Xia. Song Dong was a bit dumbfounded when he heard Su Yun's words. He didn't understand what Su Yun meant. Assassin. In his eyes, Clay was just a hired thug. He would choose him because he was a foreigner. If he killed Su Yun, he could run away immediately. If he couldn't run away, then as a foreigner who didn't have any foundation or connections here, he could be the scapegoat. He could wash his hands of this matter clean. Who would have thought that this person was a professional assassin? This was a bit too ridiculous. But this way, Song Dong felt a little better. He spent so much money to hire a professional assassin. Today's matter really couldn't run away. He must make Su Yun die here. Although Clay and Su Yun's fight only lasted for a moment, he had a rough idea of Su Yun's strength. He wouldn't be stupid enough to fight head-on. Moreover, his identity was exposed, but he didn't know who the other party was. But one thing was for sure. The person who knew his identity was definitely not a simple person. How could an ordinary person recognize the Black Fox portrait? In terms of strength, he was definitely on par with the people of Black Fox. At this moment, Clay felt that something was wrong. It wasn't good to stay here for long. It was better for him to leave this place as soon as possible. Young Master Song, I'm not earning this money. You should find someone else. After Clay finished speaking, he turned around and was about to leave. Song Dong was dumbfounded. Song Bei's other brothers were also completely stunned. What the hell was going on? He quit just like that. Song Dong reacted anxiously after he reacted. What do you mean? Do you think I'll do it just because you said I'll do it? Do you think I'm AF * King grocery seller? Hearing Song Dong's anxiousness, Clay glared at him fiercely. He was afraid of Su Yun because Su Yun had the ability to trap him in Hua Xia. And this Song Dong? Other than being rich, he had nothing at all. Even now, it was impossible for him to stop her from leaving. A murderous aura smashed towards Song Dong. Song Dong had never experienced such a situation. This murderous aura made his whole body tremble. For the first time, he felt like his legs were filled with lead. He couldn't lift his legs at all. He couldn't move at all. He really wanted to retreat and avoid this person who was full of murderous aura, but he couldn't move even half a step. Those who didn't know the truth really admired him. They thought that Song Dong wasn't affected by the murderous aura at all and didn't care about the threat at all. What do you think? I have the right to decide whether to help you or not. Don't treat me the way you treat the group of trash around you. Clay sneered. No one can stop me from doing what I want to do. Song Bei saw that the atmosphere wasn't right and hurriedly came forward to smooth things over. We're all on the same side. There's no need to be unhappy over such a small matter. What could Song Dong say? He didn't dare to look directly into Clay's eyes. Clay didn't want to waste time. Leaving a second earlier was an advantage for him. Yo, aren't these words a bit too arrogant? No one can stop you from doing what you want to do? Su Yun, who was standing at the side, chuckled. These words were a little too big. How immodest. Then if you want to leave now and I don't let you leave, would it be considered as stopping you? You don't have to do that, do you? To be honest, Clay didn't want to confront Su Yun at all. I'm afraid there's no relationship between the two of us. You still have to deal with these people's troubles. I'm afraid you don't have time to waste with me. Su Yun glanced at the dozen or so parasites that Song Dong's 4 brothers brought over. You know that these people are just a bunch of trash to us. You don't want to cause trouble for yourself. Clay was very calm right now. He knew all too well that once he got entangled with this person in front of him, he would be in danger. Brother, I'm afraid the one in trouble is you. Su Yun twisted his neck. If you come to Hua Xia to do this kind of business, you have to be prepared to get yourself involved in trouble. This money isn't easy to earn, right? We don't have any grudges. Why do we have to make both sides suffer? Clay still hoped that this matter could be resolved peacefully. Su Yun glanced at his wrist. What I'm interested in is the tattoo on your arm. You know. That's just a picture I like. It has nothing to do with anything else. I think you might be mistaken. As Clay spoke, he was already trying to find a way out. He wanted to leave this damn place. He had to leave. Just as the two of them were talking back and forth, Song Dong was about to break down. They didn't put him in their eyes at all. Was he just air? It had to be known that he was the main character who planned everything today. He was the real mastermind behind the scenes. No matter what story it was impossible to throw the mastermind behind the scenes aside, right? Did these people even consider his feelings? Song Dong, who had never been ignored like this, couldn't take it anymore. Do you still have me in your eyes? Remember, one of you was hired by me, and the other is my opponent. This matter has something to do with me. Song Dong roared anxiously. He had already lost his mind long ago. If Su Yun wanted to deal with an assassin, Yu Meiren would definitely support this point. After all, an assassin was harmful to social stability. However, she didn't support Su Yun taking action against these hedonistic sons. It was too easy to get into trouble. Now was the time for her to stand up. Yu Meiren suddenly said to Song Dong, "It's not too late to talk about other things if you can get past me first." How could a woman dare to bully him? Song Dong shouted angrily. He didn't care about being gentle with women anymore. So what if she was a woman? If she made him unhappy, he would teach her a lesson. Song Dong, who had evil intentions, directly took the lead and pounced on Yu Meiren. Yu Meiren didn't hesitate and kicked Song Dong in the chest, sending him flying. Her strength wasn't just for show. Otherwise, she would have wasted her time in the Dragon Brigade. Song Dong staggered and fell. Yu Meiren turned around and kicked Song Bei, who was beside her, to the ground. In the blink of an eye, 2 of the Song brothers had been dealt with. This had shocked everyone present. This girl wasn't just a flower vase. She was capable. Chapter 1875. Seeing that the 2 young masters of the Song family had been taken down by a woman, the vermin who usually followed the Song brothers to eat and drink naturally had to show their loyalty. In the face of powerful characters, they didn't dare to act rashly. But in the face of a woman, and a beautiful woman at that, of course, they had to show their usefulness and take advantage of her. With this thought in mind, a group of people swarmed up and directly pounced on Yu Meren. Moreover, they were scrambling to be the first. After all, if they were to fall in the periphery, they probably wouldn't even be able to touch the hand, let alone touch the other parts. If they didn't take a bite of this kind of fat meat hanging at the edge of the mouth, it would really be a big loss. Yu Meren's name was so compatible with her. Many people knew that Yu Meren was a beautiful flower in the poppy family, but she was poisonous all over, especially the fruit. Under the beautiful appearance, there was an amazing poison hidden. This was Yu Meren, a beautiful flower that could be seen from afar and not touched. If you wanted to provoke Yu Meren, unless you had the ability like Su Yun, only death would await you. The first guy who pounced on her quickly learned what it meant to be a moth to a flame. Yu Meren bounced up with one leg and her knee rushed up like a cannonball, directly hitting the guy's chest. The guy who was hit flew out with a scream and fell heavily on the ground, unable to get up again. Before the second guy could react, Yu Meren's elbow directly hit his throat. People who had their throats injured knew how painful this kind of pain was. The second guy didn't even make a sound and began to roll on the ground with his throat in pain. The feeling of difficulty breathing and being unable to swallow was really unbearable. While the second guy was still in pain, Yu Meren's right arm fiercely hit the third guy's chest. The third guy was directly smashed to the ground, and with a bang, his entire back was broken. In the blink of an eye, Yu Meren knocked down 5 people, including Song Dong and Song Bei. Yu Meren's skill was enough to make these guys dumbfounded. A beautiful woman who looked petite and weak actually had such skills. She was much fiercer than the guys they usually saw who could fight. At this time, the rest of the people did not dare to act rashly. They all obediently stopped and took small steps back. No one wanted to be the next cannon fodder. Losing to a woman was not only embarrassing, but it also looked like it would really hurt. At the very least, the first 3 guys that were killed by Yu Meren were still in so much pain that they couldn't stand up. Yu Meren saw that her encirclement had begun to retreat. She clapped her hands disdainfully. With this little ability, they wanted to provoke Su Yun. It was impossible for them to even get past her. Song Dong, who had regained his composure, flew into a rage out of humiliation. It was fine if he couldn't beat Su Yun, but if he couldn't even handle a woman, then he wouldn't be able to survive in Yanjing City. If this spread out, he would have no face. Today, I will definitely sleep with this woman. Song Dong said fiercely, "All of you better be careful. Take her down and hold her down for me. I'm going to do her on the spot." Song Dong, who was driven to desperation, could really do anything. Not to mention committing violence on a girl in the street. Even if he stripped 10 girls in the street, his father would still have the ability to settle it for him. As long as there was money, there was almost nothing in this society that couldn't be solved. For a scum like Song Dong, the bad things that he had done were really innumerable, and he could escape punishment every time, relying on the strength of his family, relying on his father's money, and his father's power. Relying on the fact that no one dared to fight with his family. When he was in junior high school, Song Dong tricked a girl in his class to go to the top floor of an abandoned office building and raped her. The girl was knocked unconscious by him. Later, she was locked on the top floor of this empty office building. Because she didn't get help for many days, she was trapped there and died. Her body was only found a month later. This matter wasn't untraceable because Song Dong's family had power, so even if it was traced, they had the ability to erase the evidence and let Song Dong continue to get away with it. It might sound scary, but this kind of thing really happened to us. Song Dong looked like a playboy, but when it came to breaking the law, what he had done was no less than those hoodlums from the underworld. Not all evil people would commit evil deeds. This guy who looked like a dog on a daily basis had done a lot of evil deeds. It was just that these were all dealt with by the huge backing behind them. The truth of these things would always be buried in the depths of the unknown. Hearing Song Dong being so arrogant, Yu Meren's disgust in her heart began to turn into a kind of evil thought. Thinking about it carefully, if this kind of bully could do this kind of thing, then he must have bullied a lot of girls. She would definitely not let go of such a person. Because Yu Meren's power was still there, although Song Dong gave the order, the underlings around him were indifferent. Song Shi and Song Nan also had lingering fears. After helping Song Bei up, they didn't intend to take action. Song Dong found that his order was not responded to, and Wu Ming's evil anger was even greater. At this chaotic juncture, Clay found the best time to escape. He didn't talk nonsense with Su Yun anymore. He turned around and rushed out of the crowd. Although Su Yun had never relaxed his vigilance, he couldn't help but be attracted by Yu Marin's performance just now. In the blink of an eye, this Black Fox member fled. Su Yun was really a little angry. But now that Yu Marin was entangled with this group of people, Su Yun really couldn't be at ease. Yu Marin had known Su Yun for so long. The expression on his face meant that she knew what he was thinking too well. Hurry up and chase after him. Don't let such a dangerous person escape. Yu Marin quickly made a judgment. I really don't care about these scum here. But if you don't catch that dangerous person, it will really be your dereliction of duty. Su Yun smiled knowingly, gave Yu Marin a thumbs up, then turned around and chased out. Just like how Yu Marin understood Su Yun also understood Yu Marin quite well. He knew that Yu Marin wouldn't easily make a move, but once she made a move, these people facing her would be miserable. Yu Marin was very angry, and the consequences were very serious. Su Yun rushed in Clay's direction. This caused Song Dong and the others to be at a loss. Could it be that they weren't his opponents? How did it become Clay? That guy was just an outsider. Was it necessary to let Su Yun throw such a beauty into their wolf den to chase after her? Yu Marin glared at Song Dong fiercely. Aren't you going to do me on the spot now? Alright, let's give it a try then. I want to see who will be the one to execute the other on the spot. Huh? This shout directly caused the momentum of Song Dong and the others to retreat by half. Then, Yu Marin flew up and kicked the person closest to her. Without saying a word, she directly rushed towards Song Dong. Without waiting for Song Dong to react, Yu Marin ruthlessly kicked Song Dong's crotch. Song Dong's entire face directly turned red, then directly turned dark green, and then dark purple. Perhaps only Song Dong himself could understand the pain and change in this change. Not to mention the person who suffered it, even the bystanders couldn't help but feel their balls ache and their chrysanthemums tighten. Probably no one wanted to experience the power of this kick, right? Painful screams and groans came out from Song Dong's throat after more than 10 seconds. That kind of scream was so cruel, and this kind of cruel sound made people who heard it feel so desperate. The pain of despair was contagious to everyone present. It wasn't that Yu Marin didn't have sympathy, but that she had no concept of sympathy for this kind of person. After one kick, it still wasn't enough. Yu Marin followed up with a second kick. This kick was fatal to Song Dong. The huge psychological and physical pain made Song Dong directly go into shock. Chapter 1876. Su Yun only wasted the time of a sentence to chase after him, but Clay had already run more than 100 meters away. Su Yun didn't dare to waste too much time. Places like Yanjing, where people ate skewers and beer, were definitely considered a bustling city at this time. There were many people and it was chaotic. If he didn't control an assassin in this situation, it would be very dangerous. Clay's mind was now thinking about how to leave this troublesome place and how to leave Hua Xia a step earlier. If the identity of the Black Fox group wasn't exposed, he wouldn't be so flustered. Before Clay could figure out the identity of his opponent, he didn't want to easily fight with the other party. The two of them, one chasing and one running, Clay crazily bumped into everyone. The people he bumped into scolded him unhappily, but before they could calm down, they were bumped by Su Yun again. The people who were bumped into repeatedly wondered if they should check the almanac before leaving home. I'm sorry. Su Yun kept apologizing as he pursued. Because Clay wasn't familiar with Yanjing streets, his running speed was definitely slower. Moreover, as more people noticed them, some people had taken the initiative to avoid Su Yun's pursuit, so the distance between the two of them was getting shorter and shorter. Clay didn't think much when he saw an intersection and turned directly. He was like a headless fly, turning wherever he saw a turn without any hesitation. In this way, he still had a certain advantage, so Su Yun couldn't judge his route. Just like this, the two of them chased for more than 10 minutes. Clay didn't know when he got into the old alleys of Yanjing. Yanjing's old alleys were messy, in and out, left and right. Generally, people who weren't familiar with them would think that they were running into a maze. Clay soon began to realize that the road here made him dizzy, but he didn't know which way to go out. Su Yun also felt dizzy in the alleys, and he couldn't let Clay widen the distance. Once the other party took 2 more turns, he might not be able to find him at all. As Clay became more and more flustered, the distance between him and Su Yun was getting closer and closer. Finally, Su Yun got his chance. Clay made a wrong choice at a corner and turned into a dead end. Seeing that there was no way out in front of him, Clay knew that this battle was unavoidable. Clay suddenly stopped. Su Yun also stopped in time. Looking at his opponent who had been forced into a dead end, Su Yun revealed a faint smile. "Bro, don't run." Su Yun smiled. "I'm almost done running. I'm tired. I feel like my throat is on fire. Are you really going to run out of Yanjing City on your feet? That's impossible." Clay quickly adjusted his breathing rhythm. "It can't be that bad, right? You chased me all the way here for such a trivial matter. Who exactly are you? My identity isn't important. What's important is your identity." Su Yun raised his eyebrows. "You're an assassin of the Black Fox Group. I'm sure of that. Now that you can't run away, let's have a good talk." "What's there to talk about?" Clay's breathing gradually calmed down. "What's your name?" "Su Yun." "Don't hide it." There was no need to hide his name. It was just a title. Clay. Su Yun nodded. "What's your position in the Black Fox Group?" Of course, Clay couldn't admit that he was a member of the Black Fox Group. "I said, I don't know what Black Fox is. It's just a tattoo on my arm that I like. That's all." Su Yun shook his head helplessly. "You're still so stubborn? I remember your tattoo very clearly. Otherwise, I spent so much effort chasing you all the way here just to have a chat with you. I have nothing better to do." "Then who are you?" Clay knew that he couldn't fool Chen Xiaolian anymore. He was ready to attack at any moment. However, it was still beneficial for him to figure out his opponent's identity. At the very least, he could roughly determine what kind of abilities his opponent possessed. Su Yun found it laughable. "Do you think I'll tell you who I am? Then die and become a nameless ghost." Clay growled angrily in a low voice. Then, he suddenly attacked Su Yun. His move was vicious and insidious. He pulled out a dagger from somewhere on his body and stabbed it directly at Su Yun's lower body. This saber strike was quite sudden. Even though Su Yun was prepared, he was still shocked by the speed of this sudden attack. This speed proved that his opponent was not a simple person. Although Su Yun managed to dodge the first attack, Clay quickly followed up with a second stab, directly cutting Su Yun's throat. His first attack was a killing move. Clearly, this Clay was someone who killed without batting an eyelid. Just based on this fellow's move, Su Yun absolutely would not let him off easily. God knows how many lives this guy has taken. Not bad. As expected of someone that the Black Fox Group has taken a liking to. Su Yun chuckled. "You are indeed outstanding." Clay's 2 attacks were aimed at Su Yun's vital points, but he didn't manage to hurt him at all. Clearly, this guy's strength was terrifying. "You're not bad too. Hee, it seems that my luck is quite good. It's my first time in Huaxia, and I'm already able to meet someone from the Huaxia Special Forces." Su Yun was slightly stunned. This guy actually guessed his identity? "Don't talk nonsense. I'm not qualified to be a member of the Special Forces." Su Yun spread his hands. "You think too highly of me." "Humph." Clay sneered. He still said that he didn't want to admit his identity as a member of the Black Fox Group. Wasn't this guy unwilling to admit his identity as well? If he wasn't a member of the Special Forces, who else could he be? He didn't have any equipment on him at all. He clearly knew his identity as a member of the Black Fox Group, yet he still dared to chase after him? Other than the members of the Special Forces, who else would dare to do this? Even if the armed special police knew his identity as an assassin, they would only dare to come after him with a heavily armed and heavily guarded small team, right? If he came alone, he must be a powerful character. Then let me meet the members of the Hua Xia Special Forces. Clay smiled slightly. Let's see if your people are more ruthless, or my Black Fox Group's people are more ruthless. I've killed all kinds of people, but I've never killed anyone from the Hua Xia Special Forces. Today, I'll start with you. Okay, I like this. Su Yun, today, in this alley, only one person can walk out alive. Whether it's you or me, let's arm wrestle. It's better to talk with your fists than with your mouth. The two of them were at each other's throats. Although Su Yun was barehanded, he wasn't at a disadvantage. Clay didn't have much of an advantage even though he had a weapon. After more than 10 moves, Su Yun finally found a mistake on Clay's part. He controlled his wrist that was holding the knife, breaking the bones and tendons, forcing Clay to throw away the dagger in his hand. After throwing away the dagger, Clay's combat power plummeted. People who relied on weapons for a long time would always make such a mistake. They didn't know what to do after losing their weapon. Just as Su Yun was about to win, the door of a house in the alley suddenly opened. An old lady walked out and said very discontentedly, "What time is it now? Why are you still making a ruckus? This is ridiculous." The old lady appeared too suddenly. Su Yun didn't realize that there was such a danger. Clay wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity. He suddenly attacked the old lady. The old lady was knocked to the ground by him. Her head hit the ground and she went into shock. After attacking, Clay didn't delay for a second. He immediately jumped over the wall and fled. Su Yun clenched his fists so hard that they were about to shatter. But at this moment, he couldn't just leave the old lady unconscious and ignore her. After all, he was responsible for this matter. He didn't protect the safety of the people. Everything was his fault. "Grandma, wake up." Su Yun didn't continue chasing. He chose the more important matter in front of him: saving people. The old lady was unconscious and couldn't respond. Su Yun quickly dialed the hospital's emergency number. He looked at the house number on the wall of the alley and said the address clearly. If they were to delay here for a few minutes, Clay would have already escaped without a trace. Su Yun was a little disappointed. He slammed his fist on the ground. The Black Fox Group was an organization that the international community wanted to investigate thoroughly. However, they couldn't catch their members and didn't have the opportunity to investigate. Su Yun, one of them had escaped from his hands. Of course, he couldn't accept it. Sigh. Chapter 1877. Although he was annoyed, the most important thing now was to save people. After the ambulance arrived, Su Yun realized that the old lady was the only one living in the house. She was probably the kind of old lady who lived alone after her children went abroad and her husband passed away. Su Yun must be involved in this matter. He had to make sure that the old lady was fine. No matter what happened, he had to be responsible to the end. Even if Clay was the one who pushed her, it was only because Su Yun had forced him into a corner. That was why he had done such an immoral thing. The ambulance arrived soon. Su Yun directly accompanied the old lady to the hospital. Just as she arrived at the hospital and watched the old lady enter the emergency room, Beauty Yu called. However, the old lady's condition had not improved yet. Su Yun's heart was in his throat. After hearing Su Yun's annoyed and powerless voice, Yu Meiren immediately understood that the matter had not been solved smoothly. "What's wrong? What's the trouble?" "It's a long story. How about your side? Have you solved it?" Of course, Su Yun was also worried about Yu Meiren's situation. Although Yu Meiren was definitely a female dragon once she got angry, the other side had a lot of people. There was no guarantee that something would go wrong. "Don't fight with them." Su Yun was worried that Song Dong would call for more help. Although Yu Meiren had been trained, she was a girl after all, not a professional fighter. She was just a doctor, a special doctor in the special forces, so she could not always be in a fighting state. I have no problem here. It's been solved. Yu Meiren said, but the car can't be driven out for a while. Don't come to get the car first. They called for more people. I guess the family background of these guys is very powerful. I don't want to cause more trouble, so I found a chance to escape. Su Yun was stunned. Song Dong would not go that far. How could such a small thing disturb his family? One had to know that the current situation was that he was bullying a girl with a group of freeloaders. How could his family care about this matter? Following that, Yu Meiren told the truth. I think I accidentally hit the leader too hard. I directly... No way. Su Yun was dumbfounded. You've been reminding me to control my strength. Why are you so heavy-handed? Are you sure you've killed him? Who said I killed someone? Yu Meiren pursed her lips. I didn't kill anyone. I don't have the guts. I just accidentally kicked him a little too hard. Maybe, he... After all, Yu Meiren was a girl. She really couldn't say these words. This made Su Yun anxious. Su Yun held the phone blankly. What did you do to him? I might have crippled him, Yu Meiren said, biting her lips. Ah! Only then did Su Yun come to a realization. Last time, when the young masters of the Song family were racing with him and Fu Tian, it was said that one of them had already been crippled in a car accident. Now, Beauty Yu had been crippled by this eldest young master, who was also the absolute successor of the Song Corporation. Then the Song's group would have no descendants. Su Yun sighed. Last time, it was not Song Dong, the absolute successor, who was crippled, and it was related to Fu Tian. The two families were evenly matched, so it didn't make any big noise. But this time, it was different. This time, Song Dong's root was broken. If this woman was ruthless, it could really be unbearable. Song Dong, you're unlucky. You're ruthless enough. You ran away well. Now you can't go back. You don't know how many people there are waiting for you to walk into the trap. Su Yun, this time it's a little big. Now you'd better stay away. Don't suffer losses. Where are you? I'll go to find you. Yu Meiren had never experienced such a thing, so she was really scared. Only when she was with Su Yun could she eliminate this fear. Su Yun scratched his head. I'm in the number 3 hospital. Are you hurt? Before Su Yun finished speaking, Yu Meiren shouted worriedly. No, I'm not hurt. It's the guy from the Black Fox group. He was pushed to the edge by me. There happened to be an old lady, so he pushed her to the ground. The old lady was too old to bear the pain, so she passed out on the spot. Su Yun said helplessly, I had no choice but to save her first. The guy from the Black Fox group ran away. I went to the hospital with the ambulance. The old lady has no family, so I must take responsibility for this. Then wait for me at the number 3 hospital. I'll go to you right away. Yu Meiren was also worried. It didn't matter if they didn't catch the culprit, but if an innocent person was hurt because of Su Yun, then Su Yun really had to take responsibility for this. After Yu Meiren hung up the phone, she called a taxi and rushed to the number 3 hospital. She couldn't let Su Yun take responsibility and face it alone. She had to face this responsibility together with Su Yun. Besides, she was a doctor, and her medical skills were definitely the best in the Dragon Brigade. She had to help Su Yun solve this kind of problem. The taxi's speed was quite fast. Yu Meiren also felt lucky today. The road in the Great Yen capital was actually not so congested. It took less than 20 minutes to send Yu Meiren to the number 3 hospital. Yu Meiren was a medical worker. She knew very well where the old lady would be sent to in this kind of situation. She didn't need to ask Su Yun at all. Yu Meiren quickly arrived at the scene. The old lady's rescue continued. Su Yun frowned outside the emergency room, waiting for the doctor to bring him good news. Yu Meiren didn't disturb him. She just stood quietly beside Su Yun and gently hugged Su Yun, hoping that he wouldn't think too much. Soon, the doctor in the emergency room came out. Who is the patient's family? Su Yun was slightly stunned. He didn't know where to find the patient's family, so he could only take on this identity himself. It's me. I'm the patient's family. She's so old. You have to take good care of her. She might fall and never get up again. The doctor was obviously very disgusted by Su Yun's negligence, so he didn't have a good attitude towards him. Having an old person at home is like having a treasure. Be filial. Don't wait until your parents pass away and then regret that you didn't spend more time with them, understand? You misunderstood, doctor. Yu Meiren immediately stood up to help Su Yun out. She took out the identification that represented her identity as a Special Forces medic. Actually, I'm not the old lady's family. He's not either. We just sent the old lady here because of a coincidence. Then, the doctor in the number 3 hospital understood in his heart. He respected the two of them. This is bravery. Learn from Comrade Lei Feng's good example. But what? You know that any medical operation we perform is risky. I hope that we can get the signed consent form from the patient's immediate family. The doctor said, we can only proceed with the next step of the operation if her family agrees. Su Yun was dumbfounded. Asking him to look for the old lady's immediate family was no different from looking for a needle in a haystack. After all, the old lady couldn't speak at all. Even if she did, Su Yun might not be able to wait for her to come. Rules are dead, but people are alive. Let's be flexible. Su Yun said, let's save the patient first. That won't do. Even if I don't say it, you must have heard of the medical disputes over the years. Once the operation is risky, if the patient's family doesn't sign the consent form, we won't dare to take the responsibility easily. Su Yun glared. Fine, I'll take the responsibility. None of you will, but I'll take the responsibility. Then if something happens, can you take the responsibility? The doctor was slightly stunned. I'll go to the operating theater with you. Yu Meiren was also ready. Are the two of you joking? The doctor was a little angry. Stop fooling around. This is a hospital. You can't make such jokes. Who said I'm joking with you? I'm really going to help. I'm also a doctor. I know all this. Yu Meiren said, don't worry, I'm definitely in the industry. Su Yun nodded. Doctor, just believe in her. She's still very capable. I've been in desperate situations many times, and it was always her who helped me escape. Chapter 1878. Are you two crazy? The doctor looked a little angry. Do you think this is a joke? This is a life-saving operation. Please don't insult our medical staff. We can't put anyone's life in other people's hands. We're not joking. Yu Meiren became serious. I welcome you to call me to confirm my identity at any time. I'm also a doctor, and I know the importance of saving lives. That's why I'm applying to join your operation. I believe that I have the ability to give you great help in your operation. When the doctor saw Yu Meiren's serious expression, he seemed to realize something. Obviously, he was now very sure that Yu Meiren was definitely a doctor. Because only a doctor who had experienced life and death in an operation could understand the true meaning of saving lives and helping the injured. Only a doctor could have such a serious and fearless expression. The doctor sighed. Well, I believe that you're a doctor, and I also believe that you really want to help us. But the hospital has its own rules, and we can't break them easily. You're not from our hospital, so we can't let you join our operation. Because this responsibility is not something any of us can bear. Su Yun was really speechless towards these people who regarded rules as more ironclad than military discipline. No one would try to touch any rules that required them to bear a huge responsibility. As for those insignificant rules, which of these people who talked about rules all day long had not broken them before? For example, the simplest rule in Shi University was that medical staff couldn't accept things from outsiders, and that medical staff couldn't eat and drink casually. To be able to completely abide by the rules and not touch anything, that was definitely a rare pure being. Rules are dead, but people are alive. Su Yun, You see, the operation is dangerous now, and we need the old lady's family's signature. We don't even know where the old lady's family is now. Should we ask the police to investigate? After the investigation, ask the old lady's family to come to the scene to sign. Let's not talk about the distance. For example, the old lady's family is within the 6th Ring Road. How long will it take to get to the 3rd hospital? Add the time for the police to investigate, you can calculate it yourself. The doctor was stunned by Su Yun's words. There was no need to calculate the time. It was obvious that it was not enough. By the time all of this was over, the old lady would probably not be able to hold on. The current situation is very clear to you. If we follow the procedures, this old lady will be in danger because of the delay. Su Yun said, this responsibility will be 100% borne by your hospital. Upon hearing that they would have to take responsibility, the doctor's expression turned ugly. The current social exposure and public opinion pressure were too terrifying. Ordinary medical accidents could be spread like wildfire. If this was a delay in medical treatment, once word got out, public opinion would not care about the rules. The public would definitely think that it was their negligence as a doctor, that it was their dereliction of duty that led to the delay in treatment. This kind of thing was really hard to explain. When the time comes, your dean will definitely find someone to take responsibility for it. At that time, you will all be suckers, right? Su Yun said, why don't you explain the situation to your director now and ask him to verify her identity and see if she's a competent doctor? Then, allow her to participate in the operation. In this way, if something goes wrong, you can even shift the blame to us. You won't have to bear the pressure of public opinion. Why don't you do it? Please wait a moment. I'll deal with this matter right away. After thinking it through, the doctor quickly called the director of the hospital to ask about this matter. He also explained the seriousness of this matter to the director in detail. He wanted the director to make the decision. If something went wrong, the director wouldn't be able to bear the responsibility for it. Soon, after a series of discussions, the hospital gave Yu Meiren the authority. To be honest, it was impossible for them to let Yu Meiren do anything in the operating room. They just wanted to find someone to take the blame if something went wrong. After all, this operation did not have a family member's signature. Fortunately, after the director verified the identity of Yu Meiren, he knew that Yu Meiren's identity was not simple. She was a special medical personnel of the National Confidentiality Department. He believed that there would be no trouble if such a person was present. This matter should be solved quickly. Su Yun was obviously satisfied with the final result of this matter. He was also very clear about Yu Meiren's ability. With her in the operating room, he felt at ease. He hoped that the old lady would be all right and not have any accidents because of him. If that happened, Su Yun would not be able to sleep and eat in peace for the rest of his life. The operation had already begun. The old lady had suffered from intracranial hemorrhage because of the fall, so she had to face this operation very carefully. This operation would take a long time. Su Yun could not help much if he stayed outside. He thought that he could go back to the kebab shop to see what was going on with Song Dong and the others. If there were no people there, Su Yun could drive the car out as soon as possible. Su Yun stopped a taxi at the gate of the hospital. He told the driver the location and got off in advance on the street in front of the kebab shop. At this time, the whole kebab street was very lively. Su Yun observed for a while and found that Song Dong's people were not there. It seemed that this matter was completely over. Su Yun observed the surrounding situation and slowly approached the place where he had the kebab. This place was the best place for him to observe his parking place. Su Yun soon found that the cars that surrounded his car had disappeared. He could drive away at any time. In order not to cause trouble for the owner of the kebab shop, Su Yun did not intend to say goodbye. He was ready to drive away directly. "Brother, you're here. You must be tired from work. Do you want 2 kidneys to make up for it?" It was unknown when this boss had appeared behind Su Yun. He walked up to Su Yun and said with a chuckle. Su Yun was slightly stunned. The owner was really forgetful. He had just left and had already eaten a lot of kidneys. What else did he want to make up for? Sit, sit. The owner did not care about Su-yun's blank face. He pulled him to find a place to sit down. I say, your company's boss is quite evil. Why did he work overtime for you? Without waiting for Su-yun to explain, the owner put a large glass of draft beer in front of Su-yun. Come, come, come. Drink first. Anyway, you don't have a car. Drink more. Bus 11 will go back in a while. Come, have a drink. I'll accompany you. Su-yun was completely dumbfounded by the boss. It seemed that the boss had not only forgotten about him, but also treated him as another person. Just when Su-yun wanted to explain, the owner looked around and quickly stretched his head to Su-yun's ear. He lowered his voice and said, "Brother, how dare you come back? Who did you and that girl provoke? Aren't they too powerful? There are hundreds of people here. There are local bullies and police. If they catch you, you will definitely—" Su-yun suddenly realized that the owner was trying to find a way to save him. "Let me tell you. There are people in every restaurant on this street. I have people here too. So, don't talk nonsense. It will arouse suspicion." The owner said, "Don't drive your car. This is a trap. As long as you appear, you will definitely be surrounded." Su-yun nodded and did not say anything. He made a gesture of gratitude to the owner with his hands. "Just treat it as if you're a regular here. Finish this glass of wine and have some food before you leave." After the tavern owner said that, he patted Su-yun on the shoulder and resumed his loud voice. "Not bad. Your tolerance for alcohol seems to have improved. Just drink it. Come, I will add another glass for you. What do you want to eat? Tell the waiter." Same old rules. Su-yun got into character quite quickly. The owner gave him a thumbs up in his heart. "Good, really good." He turned to the waiter and said, "Same old rules." The waiter was a little dumbfounded. "What's the old rules?" Just as he was feeling puzzled, he saw Su-yun and came to a realization. This was the Almighty who had caused all the trouble just now. TSK, TSK, TSK. The owner really doesn't mind the trouble. He dares to help anyone. He didn't say anything, but cooperated and shouted, "Okay. It will be ready soon. I will give you a plate of peanuts and edamame first. Drink the beer." The peanuts and edamame Su-yun ate in one night were more than what he ate in a year. If he ever came to the beer skewer restaurant again, he would definitely not want to eat this dish. With so many pairs of eyes looking at him, he forced himself to finish it all in one breath. And he ate 2 kidneys. This night was really nourishing. Chapter 1879. Boss, I'm done eating. I'll go home first. I still have to make reports for the evil capitalist boss when I get home. See you later. Su-yun got up and took out some money from his pocket. 2 cups of beer and some barbecue. It really didn't cost more than 10 yuan, but the boss still had to accept it. He didn't want to arouse the suspicion of those who were secretly monitoring this place while eating and drinking on the surface. "It's a total of 73 yuan. I'll charge you 70 yuan. So expensive." Su-yun also looked like a loser who was shocked by the high price. How could a person who felt heartache when eating 70 yuan for a meal afford to drive a car? He probably wouldn't even be willing to buy an electric car that cost more than 3,000 yuan. 2 kidneys and it's 30 yuan. The boss admired Su-yun's acting skills. He patted his shoulder and said, "Make more money, young man. The consumption level of society is very, very high now. If you can't even afford this, how are you going to buy a house in the future? Are you going to buy a car? If you don't have a house and a car, how are you going to get a wife?" Su-yun sighed. "Sigh, there's no other way. Since I've gritted my teeth and stayed in Yanjing, I have to endure it. If I go back to a small county, I'll definitely be laughed at by my former classmates and friends. People all think that I'm in Yanjing, a big city in the capital. I earn a lot, eat well, and have a lot of fun. Isn't that so? Otherwise, why would you stay in Yanjing?" The boss smiled. He also knew very well what kind of life the people who wanted to stay in Yanjing were living. I really don't have an annual salary of tens of thousands like other people, Su Yun said. I'm just working an ordinary job. What can I do with a few thousand yuan a month? I'm going to drink the northwest wind. I'm going to suffer for my reputation. No matter how hard it is, I don't want to go back. I'll be looked down upon if I go back. They'll say that I'm back because I can't survive. Su Yun handed the $70 to the boss and shook his head helplessly as he muttered to himself, "Forget it, let's go. Why would I eat kidneys for no reason? I don't have a girlfriend, so why would I eat that thing? I've been holding it in for so long." The poor young man that Su Yun was playing now was a common sight in Yanjing City. The most basic level was a university graduate, and it was not rare for graduate students to return from abroad. It was nothing more than a company with a monthly salary of more than 2,000. After working hard for a year, the salary would be more than 3,000, and after 2 years of intrigue, the salary would be 5,000. After that, if he didn't have any special abilities and just worked step by step, he wouldn't be able to earn much. Even if Yanjing City was a metropolis, having a monthly salary of more than 10,000 yuan was still considered a high income of the working class. The deep-rooted old Beijing people would definitely be able to survive with this income. But what about those foreign youngsters who had dreams but no ability? They wanted to live in a big city and suck their parents dry like vampires, get a down payment to buy a house, and then squeeze into the subway to work in a bank for the next 20 years. Was this kind of life really what these people wanted? Of course not. They would like Beijing, they would like the big girls of Beijing, they would like the rich life in Beijing, and they would like the international standard of living. But they would never understand that these things were not something they could get by staying in Beijing. Even if they stayed in Yanjing, the rich life in Yanjing was also left for the rich to experience. The poor couldn't afford Western food that cost more than 10,000 yuan. The international standard of living was also prepared for the rich. The poor couldn't afford to live in a residential area that cost more than 10,000 yuan a year. As for Yanjing's big girls, they weren't people that poor people in small places could get. They would give them face if they looked at them. Yanjing's big girls could only be invited out to play with the second generation of the rich and the second generation of the government officials. Just a casual meal and a song could cost a poor person a month's salary, not to mention buying a limited edition bag as a gift. Even a year's salary might not be enough. That's why people had to be clear about their own abilities. They had to do what they were capable of. If they didn't have the ability, then don't stay in a city that didn't belong to them. Su Yun acted out a play that made many people think deeply about themselves. Among the people eating skewers, there were people who were similar to Su Yun's role. And Su Yun took advantage of this successful role to leave smoothly without letting anyone see him. It seems that if I want to drive this car away, I really have to use some means. Phew, it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. This is Yanjing. If he, Su Yun, can't even handle such a small matter, then he really wasted his time. Tomorrow, he would let these people who were guarding the car know what it meant to be domineering. Tonight, he would save the old lady first. Fortunately, he and Yu Meren didn't need to rush back to the army now. This was because when the hospital checked Yu Meren's identity, Yu Meren had already applied to the brigade to stay out for the night. This was a special situation, and there was no other way. Moreover, with Su Yun following, Yu Meren definitely wouldn't be in any danger. The brigade was very assured about this, so they happily approved it and promised Yu Meren that she would come back when the surgery was over. She wouldn't be criticized if she stayed out for the night. After all, no matter whether Yu Meren came back after the surgery or not, Su Yun would follow her. What was there to be afraid of? Could it be that Su Yun would betray Yu Meren? Based on the relationship between the two, Su Yun would rather let Yu Meren betray him than betray Yu Meren. When Su Yun returned to the hospital, the surgery was still going on. Su Yun looked at the time. It was already 10 o'clock at night. This surgery might not be completed even after 2 hours. Of course, although the surgery was complicated, it wouldn't last the whole night. It would definitely be completed by tonight. In the eyes of outsiders, being a doctor was very easy. However, Standing in the operating room for a few hours, sometimes even more than 10 hours, was also a very difficult job. Thinking of this, Su-Yun quickly dialed the number to check. He asked for the phone numbers of several big hotels in Beijing and dialed the numbers one by one. Knowing that there were still quite a lot of empty rooms, he was relieved. He would see the situation later. If Yu Marin came out early, they would rush back to the army as soon as possible. If it was past 12 o'clock, then they would go out and find a hotel to stay. It would take at least an hour to rush back. At that time, no taxi would dare to take their job in the middle of the night. After Su-Yun made plans in this regard, he began to think about the problem of his car. He quickly dialed Wang Yi's phone. He guessed that he must not have slept at this time. "Why are you calling me in the middle of the night? How's the situation on your side?" Wang Yi said, "Do you want to give me a detailed report?" Su-Yun grinned and said, "You know me well. I haven't even opened my mouth, and you have seen through everything. I want to report today's situation to you. It's really quite complicated. After reporting, is there anything else you need my help with? You've never taken the initiative to report to me about your work." Wang Yi said, "I was just casually asking. You really didn't hold back." "Okay, say it. What's the matter? Report the work first. Let's talk about other things after the work report." Su-Yun told Wang Yi everything that happened today, including the assassin from the Black Fox group invited by Song Dong, and the incident where Yu Marin was angry and seriously injured Song Dong. Su-Yun also said clearly how the assassin from the Black Fox group used the old lady to escape from his hands. Wang Yi listened quietly and calmly analyzed this matter. "The problem now is that my car is closely watched by the Song family's people. As long as I go to pick up the car, they will definitely take action." Su-Yun said, "At that time, do you think I should do it or not? If I do it, I am afraid that it will make things worse. It will be troublesome if I hurt too many people. If I don't do it, I am afraid that I will embarrass you." "All right, stop flattering me. Do you think I don't know what's going on in your head? I know what you mean too well." Wang Yi said, "Since this matter has already happened, then the team and I will definitely solve it for you. Your top priority now is to protect Yu Marin. Don't let her be bullied. Do you understand?" "Of course not," Su-Yun promised. "Tomorrow, I will arrange for Qian Feng to bring people to get your car back. They know what to do," Wang Yi said. Chapter 1880. You know me the best. Then I won't interfere in this matter. Su-Yun felt much better. "Remember to tell Qian Feng and the others not to lose the prestige of our Dragon God Special Operations Group." "How can I not know what you're thinking?" Wang Yi said helplessly. "You should have reported this matter to me earlier. After all, it involves the Black Fox Group appearing in Yanjing, Huaxia. We have to take this matter seriously. I need to report this matter to the main team immediately. You take care of yourself. I won't worry about you." Su-Yun nodded. "Okay, you go do your thing. I'll take care of Yu Marin. I'll make sure she returns to the main team safely. If she loses even a strand of hair, you can punish her however you want." Wang Yi hung up the phone and contacted Wan Guangxiao directly. They did need to be prepared at all times. The Black Fox Group had been established for a long time, but they had never appeared in Huaxia. Now that the Black Fox Group had appeared, no one could guarantee what their purpose was. This matter had to be prepared in advance. They could not wait until something happened to solve the problem. Otherwise, it would be too late. This time, Su-Yun was able to obtain such an important clue. It was definitely very important information for the Dragon Brigade. After all the arrangements were made, Su-Yun did not have any thoughts at all. Now, he just wanted to take a hot bath. He was sweating all over when he chased after Clay. The surgery continued. At about 1 o'clock in the morning, Yu Marin and the other doctors dragged their tired bodies out. They looked extremely nervous. After everything was over, they felt very relaxed. "How's the situation?" Su-Yun went up and held Beauty Yu's shoulders. She looked really tired. It was not physical fatigue, but mental fatigue. This kind of situation was caused by excessive nervousness. The surgery just now must have been very dangerous. Umaran smiled. The situation is very good. Everything has been settled. The old lady is fine. Fortunately, this time she fell and caused an intracranial blood clot. After the craniotomy, we also found a benign tumor in her brain. Although it is benign, if it was not removed in time today, it is very likely that in a few days, the blood supply to her brain would be blocked and she would die. Su Yun sucked in a breath of cold air. This old man was really lucky. This was really a blessing in disguise. That's good. Dr. Yu, today's surgery is all thanks to you. If you weren't there, we really wouldn't know what to do. The situation happened too suddenly. I didn't expect you to be so calm at such a young age. If it weren't for you, the old lady's life would really be in danger. It's nothing. This is what I should do. Umaran didn't take it seriously at all. There are unpredictability in the process of any surgery. This kind of thing is very normal. Su Yun realized that there must have been an abnormality during the surgery. You are so careless. You even told me that the situation is very good. It's just a small accident. It's fine as long as it's remedied in time. Umaran smiled. It's all because the old lady is lucky. Su Yun saw that Umaran was so tired and knew that there must have been an accident. These people didn't ask her to help before, and now that there was an accident, they all relied on her. Forget it, he didn't want to argue with them. You know that we are from the National Special Department. We don't have time to waste here. Since the old lady is fine, the rest will be left to the hospital. The hospital really couldn't make these two people bear any obligations. They could only think of a way to cooperate with the police to contact the old lady's family. We'll leave first. We won't disturb you anymore. After Su Yun said that, he prepared to leave with Umaran. I think Dr. Yu is tired. Why don't we have a meal together? A young doctor was quite good at talking, but Su Yun was 100% sure that this guy had the heart because Umaran was beautiful. Otherwise, who would be in the mood to eat in the middle of the night? Everyone had a love for beauty. This was normal and nothing. Yes, we really should treat Dr. Yu to a meal to express our gratitude. As soon as the suggestion was made, someone immediately agreed. There's no need to be so polite. We're all doctors. It's our duty to save the dying and heal the injured, Umaran said. Moreover, I don't have the habit of eating supper at night. Thank you, everyone. Dr. Yu, give us a chance to thank you. If we don't treat you to supper, we'll feel bad. Su Yun couldn't be bothered to waste time with them. He waved his hand and said to the enthusiastic doctors, Listen to me. Dr. Yu is already very tired, and she doesn't like to eat supper. If you really have the heart to treat her, then give me the money. I'll treat her to the best Buddha jumps over the wall in Yenjing City tomorrow. How about that? Is that okay? When Su Yun said that, many doctors were stunned. It's not much money. 200 yuan per person will definitely be enough. Su Yun, don't worry, I'll only buy it for Dr. Yu. I won't eat it myself. Wasn't this young man too thick-skinned? Su Yun, what are you talking about? Umaran really lost to Su Yun. I'm sorry, he's just joking. I'm also quite tired, so we'll leave first. You guys continue with your work. After saying that, Umaran pulled Su Yun and left. Su Yun stretched out his hand and was about to ask for money. Seeing that no one responded to his suggestion, he was pulled away by Umaran. On the way out, he turned around and shouted at the stunned people, It's okay if you don't have cash. I'll give you my card number. You can transfer it to my card tomorrow. I'm a man of my word. Stop fooling around. Umaran didn't know whether to laugh or cry as she brought Su Yun out of the hospital. It was already 1 o'clock in the morning. It was impossible for them to return to the Dragon Brigade. After 12 o'clock, no one was allowed to enter or leave unless they were on a special mission. Both of them knew this rule, so no one would mention it. Let's find a hotel to stay in and go back tomorrow. After the two of them got into the taxi, Soo-yoon spoke first. Yoo-marin could only nod. Then let's just find a chain hotel. It's cheap too. One look and I can tell that you two don't come out often. The taxi driver smiled. It's already so late. Most chain hotels are already out of rooms. There are too many young people who come out of bars at this time. Men and women are looking for rooms everywhere. It's impossible to find one. Ha! Yoo-marin didn't know what to do. She looked at Soo-yoon, not knowing what to do. Then let's find an expensive one, Soo-yoon. People who come out for a night of fun definitely won't stay in a presidential suite. If they had that kind of money, they would have already raised a canary. This brother's words are too reasonable. The taxi driver laughed. But it's not to the extent of a presidential suite. Most expensive hotels definitely have rooms. It's hard to find a budget hotel for less than 300, but it's easy to find a high-end suite for more than 2,000. Soo-yoon didn't care about this little bit of money. He suddenly thought of a question. Alright, do you know the beer street nearby? Of course I do. That place is so famous. The taxi driver nodded. So, let's drink and eat first before looking for a hotel? If that's the case, it's good. I'm also a little hungry. No. I'm thinking, is there a bigger hotel nearby? You can see the beer street from the room. Soo-yoon. Of course there is. Uekai Hotel. 5-star, it's good enough. The taxi driver said, there must be rooms in that place because the hotel's location is close to the beer street. It's not popular with rich people. If you go, maybe the room fee will be 20% off. That's great. Soo-yoon. That's the place. Yoo-marin knew that Soo-yoon might have chosen that place for the car. Are there still those people there? Are we going to pick up the car tomorrow? We don't need to worry about this. Someone will naturally solve this matter tomorrow. Soo-yoon smiled. I have reported the matter to my master. The rest will be handed over to him. Let's have a good rest today, and then watch a good show tomorrow. After watching the good show, we will go back. Yoo-marin was at a loss. She didn't know what good show Soo-yoon had arranged for her to watch, but as long as it was arranged by Soo-yoon, it would definitely surprise her. Anyway, she didn't have the mood to think too much now. The most important thing was to go to the hotel and rest. Okay. That's the place. Soo-yoon made a prompt decision. Chapter 1881. After all, the price of a 5-star hotel was too high. With the relationship between Yoo-marin and Soo-yoon, there was really no need for them to book 2 rooms. After registering his ID and paying the bill, Soo-yoon and Yoo-marin hurriedly took the elevator upstairs. Soo-yoon deliberately asked the customer service staff for a room that could overlook the street of kebabs and barbecues downstairs. The rooms near here were very empty. Even if someone wanted to stay here, they wouldn't choose to stay here because they could smell the barbecue when they opened the balcony window. As a tasteful rich person who could afford a 5-star hotel, of course, they couldn't stand the smell. They definitely didn't want to smell it. However, this room was quite good. In addition to the indoor shower, there was also a bathtub on the balcony where they could take a bath. In this way, the problem was solved. 2 people could take a bath at the same time without disturbing each other. Yoo-marin stuck out her tongue and went to the bathroom to take a shower without giving Soo-yoon a chance to choose. It was no wonder. There was a bathtub on the balcony, but other than the curtains, there was no other shelter. A girl really couldn't adapt to such an environment. Soo-yoon didn't care. As soon as the curtains were drawn, he didn't care so much. He took a hot bath to get rid of the stinky sweat all over his body and slept comfortably for a night. When he woke up in the morning, he still wanted to watch a good show. He didn't know when Wang Yi would arrange for that group of boys to come. A hot bath was definitely good for relaxing the muscles and promoting blood circulation. Very soon, one would feel extremely comfortable from head to toe. Not long after, Soo-yoon fell asleep comfortably in the bathtub. Cool. The feeling of not being able to exert any strength was really cool. After an unknown amount of time, Su-yun vaguely heard a sound next to him. Perhaps it was because he was with Yu Mei-ren that he could sleep so peacefully. As soon as he opened his eyes, Su-yun, who was lying in the bathtub, saw a scene of spring. Because his angle was very low, and Yu Mei-ren's towel was very high, it was very difficult for Su-yun not to see something that he shouldn't see. However, Yu Mei-ren was completely unaware that Su-yun had already woken up. After she finished showering, she called out to Su-yun. Since he was already asleep, she tried to make herself as soft as possible so that Su-yun could rest for a while. He must have consumed a lot of energy when he chased after the assassin from the Black Fox group. Yu Mei-ren thought about it and decided to wash Su-yun's and her own clothes. The weather was good now, and the clothes could be air-dried after a night. Even if his clothes were still wet when he woke up tomorrow, he could ask the customer service staff to dry them. Su-yun's clothes were sweaty, and Yu Mei-ren was also very nervous during the operation. Her clothes really needed to be washed. Just when she finished washing the clothes and was about to dry them, Su-yun woke up. Because Su-yun in the bathtub next to her didn't even have a loincloth on him, Yu Mei-ren was too embarrassed to look. So even if Su-yun woke up, Yu Mei-ren wouldn't find out as long as he didn't speak. Soon, Yu Mei-ren hung up the clothes. Su-yun quickly closed his eyes to avoid embarrassment. After Yu Mei-ren left, she took a bath towel and put it on the clothes rack next to Su-yun's bathtub. Everything was very gentle. She looked at the time. There wouldn't be a problem for Su-yun to soak for more than 10 minutes. After putting down the bath towel, Yu Mei-ren suddenly thought of something. She finally moved her gaze to the bathtub. Phew! Yu Mei-ren's face immediately turned red. Su-yun was lying face to face. It wasn't a bubble bath. The water in the bathtub was so clear that she could see everything clearly. Su-yun also felt that the atmosphere was a little strange. He secretly squinted his eyes and saw Yu Mei-ren's hand starting to move closer to the bathtub. That's right. She was reaching into the bathtub. Oh my god. Su-yun really didn't dare to believe that Yu Mei-ren would actually do something like taking advantage of others' difficulties. What should he do now? Now that Yu Mei-ren hadn't touched him yet, he could continue to pretend that nothing had happened. But once Yu Mei-ren touched him, Su-yun didn't practice the Sunflower Manual or the Bixie Swordplay Manual. He was a hot-blooded young man. It was impossible for him to resist this kind of nosebleed scene. Moreover, with his relationship with Yu Mei-ren, it was understandable that something would happen. Just as Su-yun was letting his imagination run wild and trying to control himself to not have any physiological reaction, Yu Mei-ren's hand was already in the bathtub. Yu Mei-ren used her hand to test the temperature of the water. When she found that it was neither hot nor cold, it was just right. She felt relieved and left the balcony, leaving Su-yun alone to continue letting his imagination run wild. That's it? Su-yun was stunned. So it was just testing the temperature of the water. Phew, it really made him nervous. If it wasn't just testing the temperature of the water, he really didn't know what to do. After more than 10 minutes, Su-yun stretched. If he continued soaking, it would really be bad. After Yu Mei-ren heard the sound from the balcony, she immediately hid herself under the quilt. She had washed all her clothes, inside and out. Now, she really had no other place to hide except under the quilt. After Su-yun dried his body, he wrapped a bath towel around his waist and walked out of the balcony. He pretended that he didn't know anything and said, "You washed the clothes?" Yu Mei-ren was a little embarrassed. She didn't dare to look directly at Su-yun's eyes. She nodded with a red face and said, "Yes, I washed them. With today's weather, I can wear them tomorrow. You worked so hard for the surgery, and you still helped me wash the clothes. This should be done by me." After Su-yun finished speaking, he suddenly remembered that Yu Mei-ren had washed her underwear. If he washed it himself, he really didn't know how to wash Yu Mei-ren's underwear. Su-yun thought a little too much. He looked at Yu Mei-ren on the bed again. Under the quilt, it was really... Phew! Su-yun didn't dare to continue thinking. He had already noticed that he was beginning to have a reaction. "It's getting late. Let's go to bed." Yu Mei-ren was embarrassed and invited him. The room of the five-star hotel was indeed not small, but the bed was really not that big. After Su Yun got on, there was almost not much distance between the two. The temperature of the body began to warm up. How could these two young people who had tasted the forbidden fruit's delicious taste control? They didn't know when, but the two pairs of legs were entangled together. Everything that was supposed to happen naturally happened. Although the two of them were physically and mentally exhausted, they didn't feel tired at all because of the entanglement, especially Su Yun. Instead, the more they fought, the braver they became. They didn't know what time it was until the two of them hugged each other and fell asleep. After waking up the next day, Su Yun looked at Yu Marin, who was sleeping soundly next to him, and felt a little distressed. She was already very tired yesterday, and he had to torture her for so long. Sigh, it was his brother's fault for not living up to expectations. Su Yun quietly got up and went to the balcony to take back his clothes and put them on. After this night, the clothes had been dried. Sometimes, the dry weather in Beijing had its benefits. Su Yun helped Yu Marin take her clothes to the bedside. Then, what Su Yun had to do was to wait for a good show to start. He took a look. His car was still parked in the same place as yesterday, and there were indeed many suspicious people on that street. It was early in the morning, and those young people couldn't have so much time to stroll on this street. Just as Su Yun was waiting to watch a good show, the light footsteps behind him made him realize that Yu Marin had woken up. It was really Yu Marin. She woke up when Su Yun went to put on his clothes. When Su Yun was on the balcony, she quietly put on her clothes and came over to give Su Yun a gentle hug. This hug made Su Yun intoxicated. Su Yun even had a kind of fantasy. How good would it be if he was faced with such a hug every morning? But he really didn't know how to choose. Ruan Qingxuang from Jibei, Yu Marin who was close by, Zhou Meiyan who flew around the world for Sky Entertainment Group, Qiu Yan who had been silently hiding behind everyone, Qin Wan who was a police officer in Shenzhen but had her heart set on him, Tang Jiu who had long fallen in love with him. There was also Yi Fala who could give up everything for him, Lin Suyin who could give up the Taiwan Triad for him, Lin Xuero who had been hiding from him and declared that she would only marry him, Gu Qia who controlled the entire Pacific Ocean arms transport route, the international A-lister Ling Jiling, Shadowless's daughter Xia Choyu. Too many women rushed into Su Yun's heart in an instant. Among them, there were some that he could use apologies to thank for their wrong love, but there were some that he couldn't use apologies to hurt. Phew, it was really hard to be a man. At this moment, there was a sudden commotion in the kebab street. Su Yun quickly came back to his senses. The good show was finally about to start. Chapter 1882. Here comes the show. Su Yun turned his head and said to Yu Marin, who was intoxicated by his broad and secure back. Yu Marin also heard the sound outside the window and quickly poked her head out from behind Su Yun. At a glance, she saw a few off-road vehicles painted with green camouflage rushing into the street. There were only a few parking spaces on the street. Excluding Su Yun's car, the other vehicles were arranged by the Song family to wait for them. Several green off-road vehicles quickly drove to the parking space. Such a big movement naturally shocked the people waiting for them, but they really didn't dare to act rashly for a while. After all, no one knew what was going on in their hearts. Who knew who was sitting in these vehicles with military license plates? After the car stopped, Qian Feng was the first to jump out. This guy was really good at showing off. He brought 10 people, including Hua Xiaolu and Gong Sun Long. Damn, Su Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He went to Southeast Asia to do such a dangerous thing, and the team only approved 6 people for him. Now, he just came to pick up a car, and there were actually so many people. Obviously, this group of people had just finished their morning training and warmed up. They didn't have anywhere to release their energy. They all wanted to see what was going on. Who was so bold that they even dared to seize their boss's car? This wasn't a leopard's gall. This was a dragon's gall, right? The 10 people were all wearing special combat uniforms. They were very arrogant. All the passers-by's eyes were focused on them. Especially those who stared at Su Yun's car. They couldn't take their eyes off it at all. They wanted to be like these people and be so impressive. At this time, Chen Feng took a high-tech electronic unlock chip and stuck it on the driver's door lock of Su Yun's car. After hearing the chip beep a few times, the car lock clicked and fell. It was not until this time that the guys in charge of watching the car came back to their senses. They quickly began to gather and surround the place. Hua Xiaolu and the others weren't careless. They directly spread out and blocked the more than 10 people who surrounded the car. Just here, there were 15 people guarding the car. The Song family was really generous. It seemed that they wouldn't give up until they caught Su Yun. Su Yun was still very unhappy when he saw this. If it wasn't because he was afraid of causing trouble for the team, he really wanted to teach these big families who were so arrogant just because they were rich. He wanted to let them know that they shouldn't just focus on making money all day and maintaining relationships with the rich and powerful. They should also take the time to teach their disappointing sons. What's the situation? What are you looking at? I'm doing something. Chen Feng glared and shouted at the people surrounding him. It's none of your business. All of you, move away. We are carrying out a special mission, do you know that? You'll be sentenced for obstructing official business. As soon as they heard Chen Feng's words, some people began to retreat. But there were also smart people among them. They pointed at Chen Feng and said, "That's my car. Why did you touch my car door when you were carrying out official business?" This was a good move. This smoke bomb made the people who didn't know the truth really think that he was the car owner. "Take him down," Chen Feng suddenly ordered. Hua Xiaolu, who was closest to this guy, didn't say anything. He easily subdued the person to the ground. Chen Feng snorted. This car was involved in a serious crime. "Very well. Since you admit that you're the car owner, then come back with us for investigation." When the person who was captured heard this, he was dumbfounded on the spot. How could there be such a thing? Then he would be too stupid to ask for trouble. At that time, he would be wrongly sentenced. Then, the loss would really outweigh the gain. No. I saw it wrong. I saw it wrong. This car has nothing to do with me. The person quickly shouted, "I'm the car next to it. The car next to it. It's true. If you don't believe me, look. I have the car key. It's really the car next to it. It's really the car next to it. Your eyesight is really bad. What are the brands of these two cars? How can you see it wrong?" Chen Feng said, "You went to the grave to burn toilet paper. Are you trying to fool a ghost? Do you think I'm stupid? Even if this car isn't yours, you know who it is. Otherwise, you wouldn't have such a big reaction. Take him away. I'll personally interrogate you today." This momentum was too overwhelming. Everyone else was dumbfounded. How are we going to play this game? How are we going to play this game? Everyone's equipment was frightening. Seeing that a guy who just ran over in time wanted to slip away, Gong Sunlong went forward and grabbed him without saying anything. He hooked his foot and directly put him on the ground. "It has nothing to do with me. I'm just here to watch the fun." This kid began to beg for mercy. He was very smart. "It's almost time for me to go to work. I still have to go to work. I have to deliver a package. I beg you." It's really a misunderstanding. In this kind of situation, anyone who is worthy of our suspicion, we won't misunderstand. Chen Feng said, "Whether you have anything to do with this matter or not, we will have the final say after we investigate." As soon as this was said, all the onlookers, including the onlookers who didn't know the truth, were scared. They carefully retreated and tried to prove that they had nothing to do with this matter. They definitely didn't know this car. "What is the relationship between this car and you?" Chen Feng threw the question to the two unlucky guys. The two unlucky guys wanted to cry but had no tears. These people were too ruthless. They felt like their bones were going to be crushed by them. They didn't have any ability to resist at all. "How are we going to play this game? How are we going to play this game? Don't try to play dumb with me. You know very well what you've done." Chen Feng said again, "If you don't want to say it now, fine. Then come back with me and I'll talk to you slowly. I'll say the ugly words first. After you go back, you will have to bear something. It won't be as simple as it is now. Be prepared. Don't die in my hands. I still have to write a report and do an inspection." Qian Feng's words were so ruthless that the two people in front of him were stunned. The man who was subdued by Hua Xiaolu confessed without thinking, "We were just arranged by Manager Song to watch this car. We saw someone driving this car and then subdued him. We don't know anything else." After that, he pointed to several people around him and said, "They can all prove that we are all together. They all know that I'm telling the truth." However, the few people who were pointed at retreated. They waved their hands and said to Qian Feng, "No, no, no. We are not together. We don't know each other. We are just passing by to watch the show. Don't listen to his nonsense." No one would be stupid enough to admit that they were related to this kind of thing. Not to mention whether they would be involved in this matter. Even if they weren't involved in this matter, they had already betrayed Manager Song. If Manager Song knew about this, they wouldn't be able to survive. Therefore, the rest of the people were absolutely unwilling to let themselves be associated with these two unlucky people. "See, your lie has been exposed," Qian Feng said. "Are there any witnesses?" "Yes. Yes." In order to protect his life and his innocence, this guy was really going all out. Manager Song can prove our identity. I will contact Manager Song now." After that, this guy quickly took out his phone and dialed Manager Song's phone number in Song Group. This was his only life-saving straw. Once the call was connected, this guy cried as if he had been stabbed with a knife. "Manager Song, we were arrested by the military. They said that there's a case for that car. I'm innocent. Please save me. Tell them that you asked me to keep an eye on this car. This car really has nothing to do with me." The other end of the phone was silent for about 3 to 5 seconds. Then he directly replied, "Are you crazy? I don't even know you." After that, the phone was hung up with a click. The person in charge of Song Group was definitely someone with a high IQ and EQ. This kind of matter that suddenly became complicated definitely couldn't be easily touched. He was very clear about such a simple principle. Therefore, he wouldn't be stupid enough to admit that anything had anything to do with him before he knew the truth. This guy was in despair at that time. His boss didn't even help him. Wouldn't he become the scapegoat? He hadn't even gotten the money yet, but he was already the scapegoat. How could he bear such a huge drop in his heart? Fortunately, just as he was in despair, there was a turn of events. Qian Feng snorted, "Look at you, you can't do a big case. This matter really needs to be investigated properly. That Manager Song of yours, you two can scram." Hearing this guy was overjoyed. He nodded repeatedly and gritted his teeth at Qian Feng. "Yes. Investigate. Investigate that Song guy. This big case definitely has something to do with him. Investigate him to death." This vengeful mentality was really serious. Chapter 1883. Su Yun was watching everything from the balcony of the hotel. He had nothing to worry about when he saw that his brothers had successfully gotten the car. He guessed that the people of the Song family were also speculating in their hearts. The Song family didn't dare to act rashly since they could even get involved with the military. Since they've gotten the car back, let's go back. It's already an exception that we didn't go back last night. Although Yu Meiren was reluctant to part with this kind of time, she still had her job. The Dragon Brigade needed her, and the brothers in the Special Forces needed her. Su Yun nodded. "I'll take you to a place to have breakfast, and then we'll go back." In the office of Song's group, Song Xiangxiong's face was solemn. During this period of time, there were too many things to do in the company. He had been so busy that he was in a terrible fix. The whole plate of Song's group was almost held up by him alone. His several brothers could only assist him. As for his son, Song Dong, and his 3 nephews, they were really a bunch of good-for-nothings. They were already good-for-nothings in his eyes. not to mention in the eyes of others. He was too clear about the standards of the next generation of the Song family. They were all spoiled and spoiled bastards. First of all, his good-for-nothing son was still in the hospital. Of course, he would feel sorry for his son. His son's life was injured. This was a huge blow to him. But all he could do was find the best hospital and invite the best specialists. He had to recover his son at all costs. These things could be left to the specialists, but he had to deal with the company's affairs personally. Song Xiangxiong, who didn't sleep last night, came to his office before 7 o'clock. He dealt with this troublesome document as soon as possible and signed it to confirm what should be done. Why? Because he needed to find time to investigate this matter. He had to find out what kind of woman dared to do this to his son. As long as he caught this woman, he must use the cruelest way to get rid of her. He wanted people to know that whoever dared to touch his son must die. Phew, it was a pity that his son was really a piece of mud. When he was 12 years old, Song Dong brought his other 3 brothers to a private club to look for a high-class prostitute. Coincidentally, they bumped into his biological father at the club. From afar, she saw her 12-year-old son flirting with these messy women, and unscrupulously reaching his hand into one of the women's short skirts in a public place. As a father, seeing his son become like this at such a young age, he really had the urge to beat him to death. But thinking about it carefully, didn't she learn all of this from him? Children were their parents' mirrors. Song Xiangxiong thought of too many things about himself. When Song Dong was very young, he had brought his mistress home. When his secretary sat on his lap in the office with her clothes disheveled, his son, who had just entered primary school, had also seen it. It was common for him to go to such places of debauchery. Naturally, Song Dong had come into contact with these things at a very young age. This was all too normal. Song Dong's actions were all learned from his father. Song Xiangxiong blamed himself. At that time, he didn't stop his son. First, for the sake of face, he didn't want his son to lose face in front of his business partners. Second, he didn't know how to face the shameful things his son had learned from him. At that time, Song Xiangxiong did something he shouldn't have done. He began to make up for Song Dong's mistakes with money. Song Dong, who was in middle school, would feel itchy if he didn't spend 200,000 every week. Song Xiangxiong constantly made up for his son's mistakes with money, but Song Dong took the money and began to squander it. The more time passed, the harder it was for Song Dong to change his bad habits. Finally, one day, Song Xiangxiong suddenly realized that his son had completely become a trash, a worm, and a waste. In Song Dong's world, there was only squandering, all kinds of luxury goods, all kinds of famous wines, all kinds of luxury cars, all kinds of women. He lived in a thoroughly debauched world. This debauched life made him more and more disgusted. Later, Song Xiangxiong even gave up his son. He felt that the money he had earned in his life was enough for him to squander. Let him be a worm for the rest of his life. He only hoped that he could find a good daughter-in-law, and this daughter-in-law could help him change his way of life. As for the Song Group, Song Xiangxiong also decided to find a professional manager to manage it. It was more reliable than handing it over to his son directly. Although sooner or later, everything would be usurped by outsiders, Song Xiangxiong felt that at least the money was enough for 3 generations of his family to squander. What if his grandson turned out to be an ambitious person and he could regain control of the Song conglomerate? The premise of all this was to find a good daughter-in-law, a daughter-in-law who could educate an outstanding child, a daughter-in-law who could change Song Dong. Such a woman was really hard to find. And such a hard-to-find excellent girl. Song Xiangxiong found her in the Song Group. He had been observing this girl for 2 years. Her temperament, her concentration and seriousness, her attitude of standing aloof from worldly affairs, and so on, were all what Song Xiangxiong wanted. Because she was an employee of the Song Group, he had been constantly cultivating and promoting her in the past 2 years. This girl didn't show any disgusting ambition. Instead, she used a grateful heart to the cultivation of the Song Group. Such a girl was really hard to find in this society. When Song Xiangxiong felt that there was a chance, the girl's mother had kidney failure. The high surgery fee forced her to resign. She couldn't continue to stay in Yanjing. After hearing this, Song Xiongxiong immediately paid for all the surgery fees. What he wanted was this girl to marry and give birth to children for his son. Just when Song Xiongxiong wanted to talk to this girl about his idea, his son had such an accident. If there was no way to make up for his son's injury, Song Xiongxiong didn't need to find a wife for Song Dong. It was meaningless. It was better for him to find another woman to give birth to a son for him. Then he would use all his energy to take care of this son. He absolutely couldn't become like Song Dong again. After Song Xiongxiong dealt with the documents in the office, his mind was full of these messy things. Then he received a call saying that the car driven by the two people who hurt his son was driven away by the military. This was absolutely unacceptable to Song Xiongxiong. What on earth had happened? How could they involve the military in this? Song Xiongxiong couldn't wait to pull his son out of the hospital now and ask him who the other people were. But now Song Dong might still be in a coma. What questions could a person in a coma answer? Nothing could possibly answer him. Damn it! Song Xiongxiong slapped the table fiercely. The secretary, who had just walked into the office with coffee, trembled with fear. She knew that the boss was in a bad mood today. President Song, have some coffee to refresh yourself. The secretary put the coffee on Song Xiongxiong's table and put her hand on Song Xiongxiong's shoulder to give him a massage. Song Xiongxiong enjoyed this feeling very much. It was too relaxing. If someone could massage him all day long, he would be willing. But the secretary's hand quickly moved from his shoulder to his chest. Song Xiongxiong knew too well what this woman was thinking. The news that his son, Song Dong, had been crippled quickly spread. Song Xiongxiong had no way to find out who was the one who had spread the news. After all, he was the one who had caused this matter to blow up. Now this woman must want to give birth to a child for him. President Song, I think you should really relax more. Don't think too much about things that will give you a headache. The secretary said, wait for me to lock the door. I will come back to give you a good rest. Get out. Song Xiongxiong said weakly. How could he still be in the mood now? The secretary was stunned. This was not the Song Xiongxiong she knew. Song Xiongxiong was an old pervert. Everyone in the Song's group knew this. They also knew that the father and son were both like this. One was learning from the other. Who knew what Song Xiongxiong was thinking now? How could he refuse the request she made? I said get out. Song Xiongxiong repeated again. The secretary took a deep breath. She could only nod apologetically. Yes, President Song. If you need anything, call me. I will be outside. Song Xiongxiong waved his hand impatiently. Go away. Chapter 1884. Song Xiongxiong's mind was in a mess, and he seemed particularly anxious. He really couldn't figure out how this matter could have anything to do with the people in the army. Just as he was in a mess and didn't know who to call to ask about this problem, his phone rang again. It was his business partner, President Chen. After all, it was a big deal, and Song Xiongxiong had to deal with it personally. He tried his best to calm himself down. After picking up President Chen's call, Song Xiongxiong's mind quickly calmed down. After all, he was a businessman, and what he needed to do was to deal with business matters properly. After discussing what needed to be discussed, President Chen invited Song Xiongxiong to sit down for a cup of tea and deal with the contract properly. If it were any other day, Song Xiongxiong would definitely deal with this kind of thing himself. However, he really wasn't in the mood today. He could only apologetically decline President Chen's invitation and arrange for other senior leaders in the group to deal with it. After hanging up the call with President Chen, Song Xiongxiong didn't even have time to drink the coffee in his cup before another call came in. This time, it was a call from his subordinate at the hospital. It was good news. Song Dong, who had fainted yesterday due to extreme pain, had finally woken up. After hearing the news, Song Xiongxiong immediately stood up from his office chair. His face was filled with anxiety, worry, and panic. Of course, his heart was filled with hope. I'll be there right away. All of you, keep an eye on him. Don't let him pass out again. Ask the doctor and the experts to stay by his side. Don't leave him. Yes. The andrology experts will never leave, not even an inch. They're waiting for you, the person on the other side of the phone said cautiously. I'm not just talking about those experts. Those experts too. The experts who will save my son's life for me. Keep them here. Don't leave. Song Xiong roared. He was worried that these experts would leave because his son had woken up, so he had to give them enough reminders in case something went wrong at the hospital. After hanging up the phone, Song Xiong rushed to the hospital as fast as he could. At the same time, Su Yun and Yu Meiren were rushing back to the Dragon Brigade as fast as they could. Su Yun had a lot on his mind as well. He was worried about Clay. They had never heard anything about the Black Fox group before. It was impossible for him not to be worried about an unknown and mysterious figure. When Su Yun returned to the Dragon Brigade, he knew that the higher-ups had placed great importance on this matter. Faced with a sudden appearance of a dangerous person, they had to conduct a thorough search. No matter where this Black Fox member was hiding, they had to find him. However, this was definitely not an easy task. After all, the other party was not a pushover. Putting aside his identity, the fact that this guy could escape from Su Yun's hands was not simple. Although his means were a bit despicable, being able to escape was a skill. As the only person who had fought with Clay, Su Yun's words were very important in this matter. Wan Guangxiao also asked Su Yun to tell everyone the process of their fight in detail. He also mentioned the most dangerous part of this person. Su Yun's greatest misgivings towards Clay was probably his dagger. As this was a confidential meeting, Yu Meiren could not participate. She returned to the medical department first. At this time, the most panicked person was probably Clay. He was hiding in an abandoned house in the outskirts. This was the safest place for him. There were many roads and it was easy to escape. Moreover, the terrain was spacious. If someone came to catch him, he would be able to be alerted earlier. He chose to hide instead of running away. It was a very smart decision because he was not sure if all the major exits in Yanjing had been sealed. If the opponent he met was really the person he guessed, he would definitely be secretly wanted. Clay was very regretful. He regretted that he came to Huaxia because of Song Bei. This damn place. The organization had repeatedly emphasized that one should not cause trouble in Huaxia. It was very difficult to deal with trouble in Huaxia. But now Clay had no way to escape. He had to ask for the organization's help. Otherwise, how could he escape alone? Yesterday, the person who fought with him almost made him fall. If he were to be hunted, he would be dead for sure. After thinking for a long time, Clay finally decided to ask for help from the organization first. If he did not get a response, he would think of another way. When Clay contacted the organization and roughly explained the situation, the organization's reaction was very strong. Clay, you are a mature person and a talent that the organization focuses on cultivating. You actually did such a brainless thing. Huaxia is a forbidden area for our Black Fox group. At least it is a forbidden area for us now. You know what it means to enter this forbidden area. Now that something has happened, you ask the organization to save you. Give me a reason. The person on the phone said slowly. Clay frowned. He could not understand the organization's meaning. After a minute, Clay still gave a reason. The organization was right. He had to give a reason for the organization to save him. If there was no reason, his life was meaningless. I have worked for the organization for so many years. I hope the organization can help me this time. Clay said, the organization has a lot of secret events. I am involved in them, so I think I am very important to the organization. I hope the organization can help me. In the coming days, I will still work for the organization as before. I will do what the organization needs me to do, complete the tasks the organization needs me to complete, and give everything for the organization's plan. Clay's words were very skillful. It sounded like loyalty, but the truth was not so. The person on the other end of the phone knew very well what he meant. Yes, Clay had participated in a lot of the organization's affairs and knew a lot of its secrets. If Clay was caught by the relevant departments in Huaxia and confessed everything, then it would be too big of a trouble. Phew. This guy, good, very good. He was very thoughtful. He actually used threats to force the organization to arrange for people to save him. What a good Clay. He was worthy of being the organization's key training target. His brain was much better than many people's. Although he was a guy who could not live without a dagger, his brain was the reason why the organization took a fancy to him. Hey. He. The person on the other end of the phone laughed. This laughter made Clay feel that he did not have any confidence. He could not figure out what the organization meant. After a pause, the person on the other end replied, "The organization will not give up on you. Don't worry. Hide yourself well in Yanjing. I will immediately arrange for people to go to Huaxia to help you. When they arrive, I will contact you. When the time comes, tell me where you are hiding. I will arrange for people to support you." Thank you, organization. Clay's heart was suddenly ignited with hope. As long as there were people to support him, he would have a chance to escape. You are loyal to the organization. How could the organization abandon you? Don't you think so? Clay was a little excited and nodded repeatedly. I will not let the organization down. When I go back, I will work even harder for the organization's development. Thank you, organization, for arranging people to help me and giving me a chance to escape. I will arrange for people, but they will not arrive immediately. In these 2 days, you must ensure your own safety. Don't be taken away by the relevant departments of Huaxia before the people I arranged for arrive. Don't worry, organization. I will try my best to hide myself. I will not let them find me easily. Clay was confident that he could hide for these 2 days. As long as he was not stupid enough to send himself to the door, he believed that even if the other party had more people, they would not be able to find him in a short period of time. The phone call ended. The man who answered Clay's call stood in front of the huge floor-to-ceiling glass. He looked at the coast under the night sky and took a big puff of his cigar. The smoke surrounded him. He enjoyed this feeling. You two know what to do. After the man finished speaking, he took another big puff of his cigar. Are we really going to save him? There were 2 other men in the room. They stood at the tea table in the middle of the room and looked at the cigar man's back with a serious face. The cigar man did not even turn his head. What do you think? He dares to threaten the organization. Can you find a reason to keep him alive? No. The 2 men said in unison. That's good. I can't find a reason either. You should know what to do. The cigar man puffed out a cloud of smoke and said, Go. I'll leave this matter to you. Do it cleanly and quickly. Don't disturb the relevant departments of Huaxia. Otherwise, whether you two can come back is uncertain. Yes. Thank you for the reminder, brother. Because of the change of computer code, the previous supporting role setting can't be found. I can't remember that Song Dong's father is called Song Xiongxiong, so I made up Song Guaquan. I will make changes immediately. Chapter 1885. Just as the cigar man gestured for the 2 of them to leave, one of them suddenly asked, What if? Clay has already been arrested by the relevant departments of Huaxia when we arrive at Huaxia? The other person also said worriedly, Yeah, Huaxia has always been a forbidden area for us. The reason is that their special forces training is far stricter than any other country. The whole world knows how powerful their people are. It's not impossible for them to catch Clay in a short period of time. The cigar man's back was facing the 2 of them, so no one could see the expression on his face. However, the voice coming from his abdomen was clearly a sneer. Do you still need me to tell you what to do? Clay knows too many secrets. I don't care if he's caught or not. I don't want him to spit out things that shouldn't be spat out. It's that simple. The 2 of them looked at each other. This matter sounded much more difficult than before. It seemed that this matter really required luck. They could only hope that Clay wouldn't be caught by the relevant departments of Huaxia. Once he was caught, it would be really difficult for them to silence him. Don't underestimate yourselves. I'll let the two of you go because I believe that the two of you have the ability. The cigar man continued, moreover, I also believe that Clay won't be caught so easily. He's not an idiot. As long as he knows how to run and hide, he won't be caught. With these words, the two of them felt relieved. The cigar man waved his hand again. The two of them didn't have any more questions and quickly left the room. The cigar man finally turned around. He was a typical Huaxia man with a square and firm face. His eyes were very sinister. It was as if he had undergone surgery on his double eyelids. He didn't look beautiful at all, but this pair of eyes didn't seem that out of place on his face. He walked to the table, extinguished the cigar in his hand, and picked up the red wine glass on the table. He gently swirled the red wine glass in his hand. He had never thought that Clay would dare to use such a threatening method to give him a reason. Of course, he was also glad that Clay had warned him and made him realize how dangerous it would be if Clay were to be controlled by Huaxia. The cigar man drained the red wine in his glass. Clay, you have contributed, but because you have contributed too much, you know too much. As the saying goes, the more you know, the more dangerous you are. This principle was the same as Huaxia's official circle. If you didn't know many things, there wouldn't be any trouble. If you knew too much, you would get into trouble instead. However, those who knew nothing would never be able to climb so fast. Only those who knew more and had more information on each other would be able to climb higher and higher. Cigar Man suddenly smashed his glass on the ground. Broken glass scattered everywhere. He had an unfathomable smile on his face. This was the first person who dared to threaten the Black Fox Group since its establishment, so he was angry. He smiled because he knew very well that if there was a first person, there would be a second and a third. It was inevitable, so he couldn't take this kind of thing too seriously. It was enough for him. However, the cigar man didn't understand why Clay would come to China for such a trivial matter. He wanted to help a so-called rich family's son. Humph, it was too pitiful. He thought that Clay was very smart, but now it seemed that he was just a useless person. The Black Fox Group never felt pity for useless people because there were too many useless people in this world. Not just any assassin could join the Black Fox Group. Only the people they liked were qualified to join. Only the people they liked were qualified to become members of the Black Fox Group. It was absolutely not a place that just anyone could join. For so many years, the Black Fox Group could hide safely in this world not only because they were careful and cautious, but also because of their choice of people. However, there was one thing that always made Cigar Man regretful. The few people he liked most couldn't be persuaded to join their group. If those people could join their Black Fox Group would definitely become the most terrible assassin group in the world. There was no other. The existence of assassins in this world had been a thing of the past. The most famous one in ancient times must be Jing Ku, who dared to assassinate the Qin emperor. Obviously, history proved that most assassins were maverick. Even if there were a few teams, it was a team with less than 10 people. The team leader was often a master and a few disciples under him. This kind of lone assassin and small team, even if they reached the peak, it was impossible to become a force that could be ignored in the world. Cigar Man was very clear about this, so the development of the Black Fox Group was definitely not limited to a small scale. Their ambition was definitely not as simple as collecting money to buy lives. They had too much to do. Their ambition was too big. The Black Fox Group's ambition was to become a force that could not be ignored in the world. Not only that, but they also wanted to be valued. Not only that, but they also wanted to become an organization better than any other organization in the world. They wanted to become the leader. This was the ambition of the Black Fox Group. Of course, for this ambition, the Black Fox Group had been lurking and silently waiting for an opportunity. In order to get the biggest reward, they had to be patient. This was a very fair thing. A woman in black tights suddenly appeared in the room. She looked at the broken wine glass on the ground and smiled. It seems that you are quite angry. Do you want me to drink a few more glasses with you? Let's get rid of the resentment in your heart. I want to drink a few glasses. As for the resentment in my heart, I have already gotten rid of it. Otherwise, such a good wine glass wouldn't be broken into pieces. Cigar Man's face was expressionless. What wine do you want to drink? After Song Xiong arrived at the hospital, he heard his son's angry voice before he walked into the ward. When he pushed the door open and entered, Song Dong was venting his anger. How painful it was for a man to become like this. He really couldn't imagine how he would live in the future. He didn't know if he could still live. He didn't know why he became like this. You want me to die? Who asked you to save me? I have become *King useless. I am not *King man anymore. What's the point of me being alive? Song Dong roared at several experts in the room. Although these experts also had headaches about this big foppish son, the power of the Song Group and the money that the Song Group could give were still very tempting. They had to wait here. They had no choice. They didn't have an excuse to leave. Song Xiongxiong's arrival made everyone in the room breathe a sigh of relief. Finally, there was someone who could control Song Dong. Slap. Song Xiongxiong didn't let them down. He slapped Song Dong's face fiercely. He really had nothing to say about his disappointing son. You have always been a useless person. Song Xiongxiong's scolding made everyone in the room not dare to breathe loudly. Song Dong was completely stunned by his father's slap. He didn't understand why his father slapped him. He was a victim, an injured person. Dad. What do you mean? If I am a useless person, why did you ask the hospital to save me? Why did you invite so many experts? It would be better if you just killed me. It would be so simple. Any problem would be easily solved, wouldn't it? Song Dong didn't have any sense at all. I really want to kill you. Song Xiongxiong gritted his teeth and said, I tell you, Song Dong. You are now in the hospital to recover. I will do everything I can to let you end this pain. But I want to tell you, don't let me down. I can still be saved? Song Dong heard his father's words. He couldn't believe it. Song Xiongxiong glanced at several andrology experts and said to his son, Of course you can be saved. Medicine is so advanced now. Women can become men. Why can't you be cured? I will do everything I can. Although Song Dong hated his son to the core, he was still his son. He couldn't just leave him alone. This was Song Xiongxiong's fate. Fate was really playing tricks on people. Why did he, Song Xiongxiong, have such a son? It was said that like father, like son. How could he be as unlucky as Liu Bei? How could he give birth to a useless son? Damn it. Thank you for the reminder. Because the computer code was changed, the previous supporting role setting couldn't be found. I couldn't remember that Song Dong's father was called Song Xiongxiong. So I made up Song Guoquan. I will make changes immediately. Chapter 1886. Hearing his father say that he could still be saved, Song Dong's dead heart finally began to burn. Although he had only been awake for less than an hour, this 1 hour was like a year of torture to him. The first thing he felt when he woke up was that his lower body was completely numb. The hysterical fear made him completely fall into the abyss. He didn't know what was the point of a man living in this world if he was disabled. No matter whether others could live or not, he definitely couldn't live. Dad, you must save me. You have to save me no matter what. I can't become a disabled person. I can't live like this. In Song Dong's eyes, his father was his last life-saving straw. From childhood to adulthood, no matter what he did, his father could always make up for it. Perhaps in this world, the man he called father for more than 20 years was omnipotent. Yes, that's right, his father was omnipotent. Even if he was disabled, he could still restore his masculinity. He had to believe that his father had the ability to make him a complete man again. I'll try my best. Song Xiongxiong certainly would try his best. This was his only son. It was obviously difficult for him to have another son at his age. Although there was a certain possibility, it was very unlikely. After all, his body had been hollowed out by wine and women for so many years. If he could have another son at his age, whether the son was his or not was still to be considered. These were all factors that Song Xiongxiong had to consider. After all, his son's situation was very bad. No one could be sure what would happen in the end. Song Xiongxiong glanced at the experts. These people were his last hope. Experts, I really have to beg you for this matter. I don't care how much money it costs. As long as it can make my son better, I won't hesitate. Manager Song, we will do our best. However, we can't give you any absolute guarantees on this matter. I understand. Song Xiongxiong nodded. What do you mean by you can't guarantee? If you can't guarantee, what are you doing here? As soon as Song Dong heard that there was no guarantee, he flew into a rage. Dad, these guys are all quacks. They are all deceiving quacks. I want a better doctor. I want a famous doctor who can guarantee my complete recovery. Song Xiongxiong really didn't know how to reassure his son. This was already the most famous expert in the country he could find. If they were helpless, he would go around the world to find famous doctors in this field. In fact, these experts knew that the possibility of this guy recovering was very slim. It could be said that there was not even a 1 in 10,000 chance. That thing was completely useless. Just like the bones of a comminuted fracture, it would never be complete. The only theory was that a comminuted fracture could be transplanted with artificial bone, tailor-made, with the most advanced medical equipment, and with the most authoritative experts. Perhaps a person with a comminuted fracture could stand up again. But Song Dong's body part. With the current level of technology, there was still something that could be imitated. It was fake enough to be transplanted, but it was meaningless. This was reality, not a Hong Kong movie, where some strong animals could be transplanted. In fact, there was an expert who suggested that if there was a blood type match, and the person who could completely fuse was willing to give up his kidney and undergo a transplant on the spot, there might be a slight possibility. But who would be willing to sell it? There were people who sold their kidneys because those idiots thought that they had 2 kidneys and wouldn't die from selling one. But everyone only had 1 kidney. No one would be willing to sell it for money, right? Shut up. These are the most authoritative experts in Huaxia. They will definitely find a way. Song Xiongxiong glared at his son, then said with some distress, "Have a good rest. Take care of your body first. If you really need surgery, you also need a healthy body to bear it, right?" Song Dong nodded desperately. Yes, that's right. He had to take good care of his body. Well, you sleep for a while. I'll go out and talk to these experts. Song Xiongxiong felt that it was necessary to talk to these experts. There was a saying in Huaxia, when there is a reward, there will be brave men. He believed that as long as the money was in place, these people would rack their brains to think of the possibility of this treatment. Song Xiongxiong personally drove the 3 experts to a high-end tea house and ordered a pot of good pu-er tea. After drinking a cup of tea, the 3 experts expressed that they would do their best to cure Song Dong without any hesitation. At this time, a male secretary of Song Xiongxiong knocked on the door and appeared in the tea house. Song Xiongxiong asked him to come in. The secretary put 3 large handheld craft paper bags in front of Song Xiongxiong and whispered something. Song Xiongxiong waved his hand, and the secretary left. The 3 craft paper bags were full of things and bulged. The 3 experts knew in their hearts that since there were 3 sets, it must be for them. But it was really hard to say what was bulging in the bags. Song Xiongxiong personally solved the doubts of the 3 experts. He pushed the 3 bags to the 3 experts. The 3 of you, there are 500,000 yuan in cash in each of these bags. This is just a small token of appreciation. After the treatment, I will give you 20 times this amount to express my gratitude. Phew. 500,000 yuan without doing anything. 10 million yuan after the treatment. That was 20 such craft paper bags. The whole table was not full. The 3 experts were shocked. This was Song Xiongxiong's purpose. Otherwise, he would not ask for cash. If it was a card, it would not be much at all. But the cash could be seen clearly. This amount of money was nothing to Song Xiongxiong. If his son could recover, he would accept 50 million or even 100 million yuan, let alone 10 million yuan. President Song, you can't do this. We are doctors. That's what we should do. It's our responsibility. Song Xiongxiong shook his head. I know your responsibility. But this is my intention, and it's the same as your responsibility. I have to express my intention. You have to take this today. After the treatment, I will definitely fulfill my promise. I, Song Xiongxiong, will do what I say. With such a great temptation, no one would be able to resist it. 10 million yuan. Although they were experts, they still had to perform countless surgeries to earn this amount of money. In this society where everything was based on material things, who would say no to money? Come, let's drink tea first. Let's not talk about this. Song Xiongxiong personally poured tea for the 3 experts. The 3 experts were flattered. Although they were experts that ordinary people could not even register as experts, in front of a rich person like Song Xiongxiong, they were nothing. The Dragon Brigade had an entire day of meetings regarding the Black Fox Group members' appearance in Huaxia. They needed to analyze the reason for the Black Fox Group members' appearance, whether the Black Fox Group members had companions, and where the Black Fox Group members were hiding. After all the routes out of Yanjing were blocked. They would not let anyone escape easily. At the end of this super meeting, Su Yun was so hungry that his stomach was growling. He didn't even get to eat lunch. Wan Zhan treated this matter very seriously. Of course, Su Yun could understand. After all, at Wan Leader's age, he could only work for 3 to 5 years at most. He would retire sooner or later. During the last period of his leadership of the Dragon God Special Operations Group, he would not allow such a huge danger to appear in Huaxia, especially in Yanjing. I don't need to say more about the mysteries of the Black Fox Group. Now, all I can say is that you must keep your eyes open. Don't miss any corner that could possibly be hiding. I'll give you 48 hours. No matter what, you must find this Black Fox Group member. Wan Guangxiao finally gave the order. 48 hours, the entire Dragon Brigade was mobilized just to find this person. To be honest, it did not sound difficult. However, with so many people in Yanjing, it was really not easy. Moreover, the opponent was a member of the Black Fox Group. It would be difficult for them to find him. Phew. Su Yun felt a headache coming on. This matter was really difficult. It wasn't that he wasn't confident, but Su Yun was all too clear about how cunning his opponent was. Finding this person within 48 hours wasn't just based on confidence and ability, but also a certain amount of luck. If he didn't have this luck, he definitely wouldn't be able to find Clay so easily. Alright, I've made it very clear. Now, everyone, take action. Bring your team members. Start a city-wide search. Wan Guangxiao made the decision. Chapter 1887. It had been a long time since the Dragon Brigade carried out a city-wide search. But this was the responsibility of the Dragon Brigade. When a dangerous person was beyond the police's ability to deal with, they would never let anyone take part in the sacrifice of innocents. For civil cases, there were police, criminal cases, and special forces. Generally speaking, a city's security would be very good in all aspects. However, when faced with an assassin from a mysterious organization, a person who could escape from Su Yun, the police could not be involved in this matter. After fully equipping, Wang Yi gathered all the captains of the 8 special forces teams. Of course, the captain of Dragon's Fury was now Su Yun's. After all, Su Yun wasn't in charge of the Dragon Brigade for a long time. But in this situation, Su Yun had to be part of the team. This made Hua Leitang feel a little awkward. He was a little hesitant, but he still came. But after he came, he said, "Since Yanlong is here, I'll listen to Yanlong's orders." After saying that, Hua Leitang wanted to return to the team. Actually, This wasn't an emotional decision. It was a rational decision. Once Su Yun was here, the brothers of the Dragon Fury team would definitely listen to his orders without hesitation. This was a habit that couldn't be changed. If he still wanted to get involved, he might as well make things clear and become a member of the team. He was used to following Su Yun's orders anyway, because he would always lead them to victory. Stop. You're now the captain of the Dragon's Fury Special Forces. You have to stay. Wang Yi said sternly, as a captain, are you trying to shirk your responsibility? No. I won't shirk my responsibility. Hua Leitang quickly stood at attention and said seriously, I'm just doing this for the Dragon's Fury Special Forces team to complete the mission more efficiently. In Dragon's Fury, Yen Long is our captain forever. Since he's here, I hope to hand over the command to him and let Captain Yen Long lead us to complete the most difficult mission. Wang Yi nodded. Well said, very well said. But remember clearly that you are now the captain of the Dragon's Fury Special Forces. Not Yen Long or Su Yun. Do you understand? Understood. Hua Leitang said loudly. He didn't mean anything else. He believed that Wang Yi also knew that he really didn't think too much about other things. Logically speaking, with Su Yun around, it was a good thing for him to hand over the command of Dragon's Fury to Su Yun. It wouldn't embarrass the leaders and Su Yun, and it wouldn't make things difficult for the brothers. Only he would be slightly embarrassed in front of the other captains of the Special Forces. You're very good. You have the ability to lead our Dragon Fury team. Su Yun also gave Hua Leitang the greatest support and encouragement. Hua Leitang nodded. He obeyed the order. Everyone, listen up. This mission is a test for us. In the face of unknown danger, we must use our strongest means. Wang Yi said, for this mission, all of us will participate in it. The goal is to end this unknown danger in the shortest time possible. Yes. Everyone replied loudly. The captains of the 8 special forces were all elites of the country's special forces. With their individual abilities, they could definitely be called the king of soldiers. As for Su Yun, who wasn't part of the 8, he seemed to be in an awkward position. After all, the Dragon Brigade didn't have a 9th Special Forces team. For this mission, we will investigate from the center of Yanjing. On the basis of ensuring the safety of the center, we will conduct a carpet search in 8 directions. No matter which team discovers a suspicious target, arrest them immediately. Wang Yi said, the target's opponent is very cunning and ruthless. He's a member of the Black Fox group that we have never fought before. So, you know how much attention you have to pay. Yes. We'll follow the organization's arrangements. Wang Yi gestured for Su Yun to come over. Su Yun pointed at his nose. After confirming that it was him, he walked over and whispered to Wang Yi, I'll go with the Dragon's Fury team. In the Dragon God Special Operations Group, other than the people in the Dragon's Fury team, the other teams aren't your brothers? Wang Yi asked. Su Yun quickly shook his head and replied, Of course not. Everyone in the Dragon God Special Operations Group is my brother. All of us are brothers. Then why are you biased towards the Dragon's Fury team? Wang Yi asked. Su Yun was a little confused. He came from the Dragon's Fury team. When there was a mission, he naturally wanted to go back and be with the Dragon's Fury brothers. This wasn't bias, it was a normal reaction of people. Su Yun, I order you to be the commander-in-chief of this operation. Wang Yi said, the 8 special operations teams will all listen to your command. You must tightly control all operations in your hands. You must know everything. Because you are the only one among us who has fought with the Black Fox group members. Su Yun suddenly realized. So that's how it is. In the past, Wang Yi was usually responsible for commanding the overall situation. His calmness and composure were the basic guarantee that every mission could be completed smoothly. For a long time, many people had ignored Wang Yi's role. They didn't know that when facing any large-scale mission, he was the real hero behind the scenes. Me? Can I do it? Su Yun was really a little worried that he couldn't do it. It wasn't that he was modest, nor was it that he didn't dare to take responsibility. It was that he didn't have the experience of commanding the overall situation. It was definitely a big challenge for Su Yun to mobilize 8 special operations teams at once. Of course you can, Wang Yi said. Su Yun, don't belittle yourself. If you can't lead this mission, then no one can. Moreover, to be honest, Wan Guangxiao and Wang Yi also had a headache cultivating the next generation of successors. In the Dragon God Special Operations Group, each of the captains of the 8 special operations teams was so excellent. None of them was better than the other. They were brothers, but they were also not convinced of each other's superiority. This was a very normal phenomenon. The leaders of these special operations teams were born with the domineering aura of a soldier king. Each of them had an idea in their hearts. This idea was also very simple. I am the best in the world. This wasn't conceit or pride. It was a kind of temperament that they should have. If they didn't have the temperament of, I am the best in the world, then they were definitely not worthy of being a soldier king. Who among these soldier kings would be convinced by others? It was impossible. Absolutely no one would be convinced by others. They would definitely think that their own ability was the strongest. This was a very normal phenomenon. If it wasn't like this, then it would be strange. However, there was one thing. There were already signs in the Dragon Brigade. When all the soldier kings were together, there would be a phenomenon that everyone else was not convinced by one of them. And the maverick among them would eventually become the leader of these people. The reason was very simple. He could thoroughly convince those who were not convinced by him in one mission after another, in one competition after another, and in one incident after another. Over time, this kind of submission was not on the surface. On the surface, they were definitely not convinced, but in their hearts, they were really convinced. And this maverick in the Dragon Brigade was Su Yun. No one could replace Su Yun's position in the hearts of these captains. If it were anyone else leading this mission, they would not say anything on the surface, but in their hearts, they would definitely not be convinced. And with Su Yun leading this mission, they would definitely not be convinced on the surface, but in their hearts, they would wholeheartedly obey all of Su Yun's orders. Who has any objections? Wang Yi raised his voice and ordered. No one answered. Wang Yi immediately became anxious. If you have an opinion, say it. Don't hold it in. If you hold it in, no one will treat you. Let me ask you, does anyone have an opinion about Su Yun leading this mission? No. Everyone shouted loudly. At the start, they did not say anything, showing that they were unconvinced on the surface. But this serious reply reflected their true inner thoughts. There was no reason why they were willing to let Su Yun lead them. It was because they believed unconditionally that Su Yun could lead them to solve all their problems. Since it was like this, Su Yun really couldn't refuse anymore. Then, from now on, everyone listened to my orders. Let's go. Chapter 1888. Facing a member of the Black Fox Group, some people might not understand and think that there was no need to make such a big fuss. However, Wan Guangxiao did not think so. He mobilized all his personnel to protect the central government because of some of the things that the Black Fox Group had done internationally. It was still a mystery who led the Black Fox Group. After they were established, they did not seem to have done many evil things. However, if one analyzed carefully, the things that they did were definitely quite threatening. They had a record of attacking the leaders of other countries. Some assassinations succeeded, and some failed. This kind of behavior was definitely enough to make all the countries in the world pay more attention to this assassin organization. However, every time the Black Fox Group's actions attracted the attention of the world, they would disappear without a trace. Even the United States was helpless. The Black Fox Group attacked the United States National Defense Security Building. This incident caused a sensation at the time. However, the agents of the United States Department of Defense and the members of the Special Forces did not even have a chance to fight. All the members of the Black Fox Group fled. It was not known whether this incident was done by the Black Fox Group or because a surveillance video captured a fox head tattoo on the arm of one of the attackers. Only then did they conclude that this incident was done by the Black Fox Group. As for their purpose, the United States Department of Defense had no clue. The investigation department did not even have a clue. With this incident, the Black Fox Group became completely famous in the world. A team of 7 people could enter the United States National Defense Building. Facing hundreds of agents of the Department of Defense and hundreds of commandos of the Special Forces, these 7 people could actually disappear into thin air. They did not even give anyone a chance to see them. This was really unbelievable. At that time, someone even suggested that the Black Fox Group was an assassin organization formed by real ghosts. That was why they could not be seen by others. Because they were all ghosts. They were all real ghosts. Of course, this statement was extreme. After all, no matter how cautious the Black Fox Group was, they still gave themselves away on the countless surveillance devices of the United States Department of Defense. Anyone who could be photographed was definitely a living person. The real ghost wouldn't be photographed. If they were really ghosts, it would not prove anything. It was because they were human that they proved how terrifying they were. It seemed that the people from the Black Fox Group did not do anything to harm the United States in the National Defense Building. However, their actions seemed to be warning the world of their existence and announcing their strength. Moreover, even if the U.S. Department of Defense suffered any losses, or if some confidential documents were stolen, it was impossible for them to tell the whole world the truth. Firstly, they were afraid of losing face. Secondly, a lot of their information had been stolen. This was definitely a security breach for the U.S. The fewer people who knew about this, the better. At that time, the United States even suspected that the Black Fox Group was made up of Hua Xia's special forces. They also suspected that they were part of Russia's special forces. However, these were only their suspicions. They couldn't prove anything without evidence. Actually, it was not surprising that the United States would suspect Hua Xia and Russia. The Black Fox Group had never done anything to these 2 countries. As for the other strong countries, they seemed to have been harassed. Basically, the Western European countries had been harassed by the Black Fox Group. According to years of investigation, the headquarters of the Black Fox Group should be in Western Europe. In Asia, the strong country of Japan had also been troubled by the Black Fox Group. The eyes of the Emperor of Japan's photo in the Heavenly Emperor Palace had been dug out. There was once a night when hundreds of black foxes broke into the Yasukuni Ghost Society and bit all the staff members there. The next day, they found that the war criminal statues were filled with the smell of fox urine. All of this made the Japanese very angry. However, they did not have any evidence to prove who did it. They could not blame humans for what the foxes did, right? However, the appearance of hundreds of black foxes in Japan was really surprising. This black fox was a genetic mutation of the red fox. It originated from Alaska and eastern Siberia in North America. The climate conditions in Japan were completely different from the climate conditions there. Therefore, the appearance of this black fox was really puzzling. There were no such foxes in Japan. All of this made many people suspect Hua Xia and Russia. However, Hua Xia was not afraid of anything. The Black Fox Group did not commit any crimes in Hua Xia, but Hua Xia did its best to cooperate with the international organization's investigation. It also cooperated with the international organization's request to fully investigate the Black Fox Group. There was no need for the international organization to say anything. Hua Xia would do its best to follow up on this matter. After all, this situation was very important. This was a terrifying threat to all the countries and people in the world. As for Russia, their answer was very strong. They said that even if they wanted to go to war with the United States, they would not use this method to invade the United States Department of Defense. They did not need it at all. They had enough advanced weapons to fight against the United States. If a modern war was launched, many people knew that it was impossible to rely purely on manpower to fight. It would be a high-tech war. The special forces of each country were only auxiliary forces in a war. What were Su Yun and the other countries' sharp blades for? They were not used to fight against advanced heavy equipment. They were sent to protect the country's leaders and kill the other country's super soldiers. Russia's words were very reasonable. They would not arrange for their super soldiers to go to the United States Department of Defense. If they really wanted to do that, they would directly kill the leader. Why would they go to the National Defense Building? No matter what, the Black Fox Group had once caused many countries a headache and uneasiness. For Su Yun and the others, dealing with such an organization was definitely a very difficult test. No Black Fox Group members had appeared in Huaxia, which made them a little overconfident and think that the Black Fox Group would not dare to come. Now that the Black Fox Group members had really appeared, they had to be 200% spirited. Who knew what the purpose of this organization was? The United States had been embarrassed in front of this organization. Japan had been embarrassed in front of this organization. Many countries in Western Europe had been embarrassed in front of this organization. However, Su Yun would definitely not let Huaxia be embarrassed in front of this organization. He was determined to protect the country's dignity and the dignity of the Divine Dragon Special Operations Group. This was Yanjing, the capital of Huaxia. He guaranteed with his identity as the country's guardian that he would definitely not let the country's interests be harmed. This was Su Yun's responsibility. It was the responsibility of every soldier. No matter what the purpose of this organization was, Su Yun would definitely not let them do as they pleased in Huaxia. Even if it was just for a walk in Huaxia, he would take down the Black Fox Group because of their bad reputation. The brothers who participated in this operation actually had the same idea as Su Yun. They wanted Huaxia to be the first country to show the Black Fox Group their strength. They wanted the Black Fox Group to completely understand that Huaxia was a forbidden area for them. There was no return. There was no doubt that they would die. They also wanted to use this opportunity to prove to the other countries in the world that Huaxia was strong. If the United States could not stop them, Huaxia could. This was because Huaxia had omnipotent national guardians. Anyone who offended Huaxia would definitely not be let go of by these national guardians. They had to be killed. Only when a country's soldiers were strong could it prove that the country was strong. Su Yun wanted to let the United States and those so-called strong countries in Western Europe see that Huaxia was not a pushover in their eyes. Huaxia was a strong country that no one could provoke. Su Yun followed Wang Yi's instructions and carried out the search by spreading out. After ensuring the safety of the central area, they began to carry out a carpet search in all directions. They could not miss any place where the other party might be hiding. At the same time, they had to hide themselves well. When dealing with this kind of person, it was absolutely impossible to beat the grass and alert the snake. All of the search had to be carried out quietly. This way, the other party would be able to relax their vigilance after a long period of psychological torture. Only then would Su Yun have the opportunity to obtain the final victory. This was definitely Su Yun's first time in command. This was really much more difficult than leading the Dragon Fury team alone. No matter the time, he had to control the progress of all 8 Special Forces teams and ensure that everything was carried out in a balanced situation. Sun Tzu's Art of War said, "Swift like the wind, slow like the forest, invading like fire, immovable like a mountain, unpredictable like the dark, moving like thunder." This kind of control of the overall situation was the real test for Su Yun. Now, he had absolute control of this mission. He had to control the rhythm in order to obtain the final victory. Chapter 1889. Song Xiongxiong arranged for 3 cars to send the 3 experts back. These people were bound to do everything they could to get more money after getting the money. The 500,000 yuan was just an appetizer. The real feast depended on whether they had the ability to eat it. The 3 experts left the high-end tea house with joy, but Song Xiongxiong's mood was still heavy. He looked at the traffic on the street. Why was his son the unlucky one among so many people? He had used all his connections to investigate, but he still didn't get any feedback. He made a lot of phone calls, but no one found out which department the military vehicles that appeared today belonged to. It seemed that those vehicles were definitely not the vehicles of ordinary departments. It seemed that he had gotten into big trouble. Song Xiongxiong gnashed his teeth in hatred. If his son was hurt by a department that he couldn't find out, then he couldn't afford to offend them even if he found them. Song Xiongxiong had been in Yanjing for so many years, and he had never met anyone that he didn't dare to offend. It seemed that the breakthrough still needed to be found from his son. Although Song Dong's spirit was still very weak, Song Xiongxiong couldn't wait. The sooner this kind of thing was solved, the better. The longer it was delayed, the less likely it was for him to find out. Song Xiongxiong returned to the hospital again. He thought that Song Dong had fallen asleep, but he didn't expect that this guy would go too far and ask his 3 cousins to find 5 young models. And they brought the women directly to the hospital. What was originally a good ward had actually been turned into a lingerie party by these bastards. The doctors and nurses in the hospital were angry about their behavior, but they didn't dare to say anything. They had no choice. This was a high-end ward, and the people who lived there were rich and powerful people. The common people knew that there was nothing else but money and illness. Once they were sick, they really couldn't afford to be treated. Not to mention a big city like Yanjing, anyone in a second-tier city knew how difficult it was to go to the hospital. It was difficult to park, register, stay in the hospital, and all kinds of difficulties. Without some connections and acquaintances, would the doctors look at you? How many nurses would be polite to you? How could a person who could live in the best ward in the best hospital in Yanjing not have a strong background and power? The doctors and nurses all understood this simple truth, so absolutely no one dared to provoke the people in such a high-class ward. Even if they brought the outside girls into the ward to play some role-playing games, the hospital staff would only turn a blind eye to it and let them do whatever they wanted. Song Xiongxiong looked at the messy scene in the ward and felt his blood rush to his head. His heart ached. Sooner or later, he would be angered to death by this prodigal. Uncle. When Song Shi and company saw Song Xiongxiong appear, they were so frightened that they didn't dare say a word. They immediately stood by the wall. They knew very well that the luxurious lifestyle they had now was not because of their father's ability, but because of their uncle's ability. If it were not for Song Xiongxiong, the entire Song group would not have reached this stage. Song Xiongxiong pointed at the 3 of them with a trembling finger and said, "Scram! Uncle, we just want Brother Dong to recover as soon as possible. We are thinking for Brother Dong." Song Nan stepped forward and explained. This was a classic example of asking for trouble. Song Xiongxiong raised his wrist and gave Song Nan a slap. He pointed at the 5 outside girls and shouted, "Take these women and get out of here. Don't let me see you again. We'll go right away, right away." Song Bei was the smartest. Staying here now was tantamount to courting death. "Tell them to get out of here with you. Right away." Song Xiongxiong grabbed Song Bei, who was trying to slip away, and pushed him in. Song Bei hurriedly called out to the girls. "Go, go, go. Go quickly, don't make my uncle angry here. Leave now." The girls put on their clothes unhappily and left with the 3 rich young masters in a bad mood. They did not dare to contradict the angry uncle. What did it mean that the uncle could scold these young masters so badly? This meant that the money these young masters spent was earned by this uncle. Otherwise, how could they leave so obediently? These young masters were usually arrogant to the heavens. Who were they afraid of? But now they had been slapped in the face. They could only take their things and leave silently. They did not even dare to fart. The people in the ward all went out. Song Dong looked at his angry father and did not dare to speak. "That's it? Song Dong, do you know how disappointed you have made me?" Song Xiongxiong's heart was beating fast. Fortunately, he did not have any heart disease, or he would have fallen ill directly at this time. Song Dong did not bow his head and admit his mistake because he had suffered such a big grievance. Instead, he said to his father with conviction, "Dad, they did this for my good. They want to help me recover as soon as possible. Do you have to be so angry? You are already a cripple, and you still think about women? I want you to get out of here directly now." Song Xiongxiong said, "What's the use of finding someone to cure you? What else do you know besides knowing about women? Don't you always have women around you?" "Dad, you are allowing the officials to set the fire, but not allowing the common people to light the lamp." Song Dong was still reasonable. If I can't recover, I will die. Anyway, there is no meaning for me to live. Then you go to die. I won't stop you. Song Xiong was really exasperated. This is the 9th floor. If you jump, I guarantee that you will die completely. If you die, I won't have so many things to worry about. Die. Go to die. I won't stop you. When Song Dong heard this, he knew that his father was really angry. He did not dare to say anything excessive. Dad, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I will change in the future. I will be a new person. Is this okay? A dog can't change its habit. Song Xiong scolded. If you dare to die, I dare to bury you. When Song Dong heard that his father did not give him a way out, he became anxious again. Okay, if I die, you bury me. You can find a woman to give birth to another one for you. Old song, let me tell you, whether you can give birth is still a problem. Even if you can give birth to another one, when his mother grows to my age, you will be almost 80 years old. What Song Dong said was the truth. Song Xiong himself knew it very well. He really regretted it now. He should not have messed around and made Song Dong's mother angry. If she could give birth to a few more sons for him, he would not have to waste time and energy on this disappointing Song Dong today. Look at yourself. Do you think your body can live to 80? And if you find someone to give birth to another one for you, maybe you will be angrier than me. At that time, you will be angered to death, and all your property will be someone else's. Maybe you can find a woman to give birth to a child for you. At that time, she will take your money and remarry. Song Dong still did not give up on provoking his father. Song Xiong's heart was really hurting. This disappointing thing actually dared to say such words to him. Hateful, too hateful. After the two were silent for a few minutes, Song Dong apologized first. Dad, don't take what I just said to heart. I am a bastard. My mouth deserves a slap. I will turn over a new leaf. I will. I promise you, okay? You must save me. I still have to carry on the Song family's ancestral line. Dong. Don't let me down again. I really can't bear the pressure you put on me. Song Xiong also tried to calm his mood as much as possible. You are my only son. I hope you can be well. Dad, if you cure me, I will go to the company to help. I will definitely support the Song family. Then you can retire and play. Go play all over the world. I will manage the company. I will turn over a new leaf and be a new man. Really, Dad, what I said is true. You have to believe me. He only had one son. If he did not believe him, who could he believe? Song Xiong sighed deeply. Song Dong, do you want to take revenge? Do you want to vent your anger? Of course. Song Dong said through gritted teeth. He wanted nothing more than to skin Beauty You alive. He definitely wouldn't let go of this woman who had made him a cripple. Well, as long as you want to. Song Xiong said, what is the background of the person who hurt you? Why did it become so big? You must tell me in detail. If you don't tell me, I can't help you take revenge. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.